Chapter 621. When Zhang Xiaobai heard that his intelligence was being questioned, he immediately became indignant. You say you're smart. Then let me ask you, what kind of natural phenomenon can an old monk flip through scriptures create? Lin Yuan originally did not want to participate, but when he heard Zhang Xiaobai's question, his mind started to think uncontrollably. However, no matter how he thought, he had no clue. The mother of Bloodbath frowned and pondered. Zhang Xiaobai's question had really stumped the mother of Bloodbath, which had been focusing on delicacies ever since it transformed into a human. Zhang Xiaobai saw that no one could guess it and did not give Lin Yuan and the mother of Bloodbath a chance to think about it. He said with a grin, "It's scripture reading, idiot." As soon as Zhang Xiaobai said that, Lin Yuan choked on his saliva. The mother of Bloodbath also knew that Zhang Xiaobai had always been very naughty, so it resisted the urge to kick him off the soft-feathered scale bird's back. However, the mother of Bloodbath secretly released a trace of its myth-breed phase pressure along the way, causing the soft-feathered scaled bird to fly up and down. Zhang Xiaobai, who wasn't afraid of heights, was also shocked by the sudden change. His teeth were chattering, and he couldn't say a word. Lin Yuan watched as the soft-feathered scaled bird carrying Zhang Xiaobai suddenly fell from a height of 500 meters to 100 meters and rapidly rose from 100 meters to 400 meters. He felt that this was much more exciting than the skydiving machines he had seen in his previous life. By the time the three soft-feather scaled birds landed in the Radiant Light Palace, the mother of Bloodbath was torturing the soft-feather scaled bird that Zhang Xiaobai was riding on. Even with the soft-feathered bird's strong physique, it was still lying there listlessly, as if it had been hollowed out. Although Zhang Xiaobai was a little scared by the soft-feathered scaled bird's sudden movements in the beginning, he was still a little scared. But when he felt the feeling of using it up and down, Zhang Xiaobai was in high spirits. At this time, after getting off the back of the soft-feathered bird, Zhang Xiaobai licked his lips. It was as if he wanted to experience this continuous feeling of up and down again. When Lin Yuan returned to the Radiant Light Palace, he was no longer in the mood to wear the mask that he had bought. Zhang Xiaobai walked to Lin Yuan's side, and the relaxed and joyful expression on his face slowly disappeared, becoming very serious. "Lin Yuan, you guys go watch the All-Star match first. I'll go to the lounge and look for the Extreme Guild Club's team leader to handle the withdrawal procedures for Xin, Tan Ran, and Lu Pinru." Zhang Xiaobai looked at Lin Yuan with indescribable gratitude, but he did not say too many words of gratitude. Zhang Xiaobai was usually not very tactful, but he placed great importance on relationships. Zhang Xiaobai did not want to just talk about Lin Yuan's great kindness. Instead, he kept it in his heart. Lin Yuan asked curiously when he heard Zhang Xiaobai's words. Didn't the three of them personally go to the Extreme Guild Club to complete the withdrawal procedures? Will the Extreme Guild Club release them now that it's officially the season? Zhang Xiaobai lowered his head and said softly, "The three of them haven't woken up, and the Extreme Club knows about their current situation. Applying to terminate the contract means that everything that happens in the future will have nothing to do with the Extreme Guild Club. I'm afraid the Extreme Guild Club can't wait for the three of them to terminate the contract. But if they wait for the three of them to wake up and then go to terminate the contract, I'm afraid the Extreme Guild Club won't let them go so easily. At that time, they can only pay the 100,000 radiance dollars stipulated in the contract to leave like me." Zhang Xiaobai shrugged and was silent for a moment before continuing. "Even if the application to leave the Extreme Guild Club has been approved, I'm the one who handled it. According to the Guild Alliance's rights, the three of them also have a 3-day consideration period. The three of them must have woken up in 3 days. At that time, it will be up to them to decide whether to leave the guild or not." As Zhang Xiaobai spoke, Lin Yuan could hear that he was full of consideration for Xin, Lu Pinru, and Tan Ran. Although Zhang Xiaobai was usually joking, he was really abnormally reliable at critical moments. At the mention of the Extreme Guild Club, Lin Yuan could feel the bitterness in Zhang Xiaobai's heart. It was obvious that Zhang Xiaobai had deep feelings for the Extreme Guild Club after what happened. After these things happened, Zhang Xiaobai's original feelings and expectations for the Extreme Guild Club had turned into deep disappointment. The Dome Guild Club that Lin Yuan had established only had one member in the reserve team, including Chu Si's addition. Zhang Xiaobai, Xing, Lu Pinru, and Tan Ran were just enough to fill the vacancy of the Extreme Guild Club's reserve team. Moreover, Lin Yuan, Zhang Xiaobai, Xing, Lu Pinru, and Tan Ran had experienced life and death together, so he understood their strength. The four of them might not be outstanding among the younger generation, but their phase were still pretty good. In particular, Lu Pinru already had 4 lustrous weaver silkworms with the same abilities and exclusive skills. During the battle, Lu Pinru commanded the lustrous weaver silkworms to put on Pinru's clothes for her teammates and their phase. It was simply too fierce. Now that Lin Yuan had Master Hong Xin, a Pinnacle Class 3 Creation Master, by his side, he could totally let Master Hong Xin enhance the 4 of them. After all, Zhang Xiaobai, Xing, Lu Pinru, and Tan Ran were all solid B-rank Spirit Chi professionals, and their phase could be upgraded to Platinum at most. Even if the 4 of them did not comprehend willpower runes, the strength of their Platinum phase could faintly rival the strength of Gold/Fantasy Breed phase. This level of strength was more than enough to use. However, the problem between Zhang Xiaobai, Xing, Lu Pinru, and Tan Ran and the Extreme Guild Club had not been completely resolved. It was not a good time for Lin Yuan to throw out an olive branch. Lin Yuan took out his ticket and waved it at Zhang Xiaobai. "My seat is A0217. Just find me when you're done." Upon hearing that, Zhang Xiaobai waved at Lin Yuan and ran toward the Extreme Guild Club's lounge. Looking at Zhang Xiaobai's departing figure, the mother of Bloodbath said to Lin Yuan, "Apart from being unreliable, Zhang Xiaobai has a good temperament. Apart from being unreliable, Zhang Xiaobai has a good temperament. It's rare for him to be so thoughtful for his companions. If I can join the guild club you establish in the future, I'm willing to give that bloody leech a chance." When Lin Yuan heard the mother of Bloodbath's words, he knew that it appreciated Zhang Xiaobai very much. As soon as Lin Yuan and the mother of Bloodbath entered the arena, they were shocked by the cheers of 200,000 spectators in the audience seats. The cheers of 200,000 spectators raised the atmosphere to the peak, making Lin Yuan immediately excited. But all of a sudden, Lin Yuan heard the originally noisy cheers suddenly become unified. His ears were filled with black. "It's Black! What, oh Lord Black?" Such a voice rang out. Lin Yuan was shocked. Did I expose my identity? The second one was even more shocking. End of this chapter. Chapter 622. Just when Lin Yuan thought that his identity had been exposed, Lin Yuan suddenly recalled that he was not wearing the silver mask that Genius had transformed into. Moreover, the vendors outside the Radiant Light Palace were selling silver masks. Even if he wore the silver mask and walked toward the audience seats, the audience should not be surprised. When Lin Yuan looked at the other audience members in the Radiant Light Palace, he immediately realized that he had been thinking too much. Lin Yuan saw that the audience members were staring at one spot in the arena. Lin Yuan followed his gaze and saw a Dao shadow walking toward the duel arena from the audience seats. This person who was walking towards the arena was wearing a silver mask. When Lin Yuan saw this figure, his eyes immediately shrank. This was because this figure was actually wearing the same clothes as Chu Si when she came to the arena in the morning. Logically speaking, there were 200,000 audience members, and the population base was huge. It was not strange for them to wear the same clothes. However, the clothes that Chu Si was wearing could not be bought on the market. Instead, it was cut from the entire skin of a platinum Kirin star-spotted fish. The skin of the Jilin star-dot fish was a very rare material. Under the illumination of the light, the pale golden fish skin would shimmer like stars. Since it was custom-made, it was almost impossible for them to wear the same clothes. At that moment, Lin Yuan could hear the shouts of Black's name from time to time. A loud male voice rang out from the direction of the dueling arena. Congratulations to this lucky audience member for being chosen by the Dragon Gate Guild Club's representative, Chen Hongfeng. Chen Hongfeng is a member of the Dragon Gate Guild Club's reserve team. In the top 16 and top 8 matches, he entered the main team as a reserve team member and helped the main team achieve good results. Lucky audience member, I wonder if you want to challenge the Dragon Gate Guild Club's Chen Hongfeng to prove your strength? Or do you want to conduct a guidance battle? The Dragon Gate Guild Club's Chen Hongfeng will personally guide you in combat techniques. When he heard the voice coming from the center of the arena, Lin Yuan immediately knew that it was the All-Star Match's host and commentator. Although Lin Yuan rarely paid attention to those famous hosts and commentators in the Radiance Federation, he was not unfamiliar with this person. As long as the S tournament had some superstar teams colliding with each other, or if it was a large-scale match, it would be hosted and commentated by this bearded man in the center of the arena. He continued to stare at the silver-masked figure for a moment before confirming that it was Chu Ci. Then, he heard Chu Ci's voice. Of course I choose the challenge. It was Chu Ci's words that raised the atmosphere once again. It's a challenge competition. And it was a girl. This girl won't be scared to tears by Chen Hongfeng's smooth-toothed elephant lizard. The person wearing my husband's mask is actually a woman. Chen Hongfeng, I order you to beat her up. I never thought that someone would dare challenge the guild challenge this year. It's fortunate that this woman encountered the Dragon Gate Guild Club and not the Barbarian Snake Guild Club. He heard the fighting spirit and eagerness in her words. Of course I choose to challenge you. Lin Yuan could not help but have a headache. In such a real-life duel, the collision between Fays wouldn't be as simple as it was on the Star Web. It was very easy to get injured. Even if one won the duel, the winner would have to pay a huge price under the loser's all-out counterattack. Lin Yuan looked at the audience around the Radiant Light Palace and then at the young girl standing in the middle of the arena who had already decided to challenge. The feeling that his younger sister had really grown up arose spontaneously. It made Lin Yuan feel proud and a little melancholic. It was said that gold would always shine. After Chu Ci's hard work and Lin Yuan's resources, she was no longer just a piece of gold. She was a pearl that had been stored in a box and had converged its brilliance. This duel was the moment when Chu Ci, the pearl in the box, shone with a resplendent brilliance and illuminated the mountains and rivers. Lin Yuan had fought with Chen Hongfeng a few months ago and had some understanding of Chen Hongfeng's strength. If Chen Hongfeng's two Fays still maintained their previous standards, Chen Hongfeng was likely to be broken by the challenger he had chosen in the challenge competition. Chu Ci's words stunned the host, Hua Ziyuan, who had not expected that the first lucky audience member to be chosen would be in the challenge competition. Furthermore, it was during the Dragon Gate Guild Club's All-Star competition where they had just defeated the Rhine Guild Club. Hua Ziyuan quickly said. The first lucky spectator chose the challenge. His courage is commendable and worthy of encouragement. Since the lucky audience that Chen Hongfeng personally selected has chosen the challenge match, then Chen Hongfeng must go easy on them. Chen Hongfeng nodded and said in a deep voice. I will treat this challenge as a tutorial battle. Chen Hongfeng's words immediately caused another round of cheers, but there were also a few words mixed in. Hua Ziyuan actually asked Chen Hongfeng to show mercy? Why do I have a bad feeling about this? Great Celestial Hua, don't tell me that you're secretly working hard to create trouble for the Dragon Gate Club? Just now, Rhine Club lost because of deity Hua's poisonous milk. Lin Yuan heard the words of the audience beside him and thought to himself. If Chen Hongfeng underestimated his opponent, he might really be taught a lesson by Chu Ci. As for the famous host and the famous commentator, Hua Ziyuan's toxic healer, it could be considered an important reason why Hua Ziyuan was so popular as a commentator and host. In the past few years of the S tournament, it was unknown how many evenly matched battles had been lost by Hua Ziyuan's poisonous milk. Lin Yuan had already arrived at his seat. As soon as he sat down, he heard Lu Jie mumble softly. If the Dragon Gate Guild Club's Chen Hongfeng dares to hurt Chu Ci, I have to go to Long Tao and ask for an explanation. Chen Hongfeng actually said that he wanted to play the challenge match as a tutorial battle. As expected of someone brought up by Long Tao. He's even more pretentious than that old man. While muttering to himself, Lu Jie saw that Lin Yuan had returned. He hurriedly took out a bento and handed it to Lin Yuan before giving the rest to the mother of bloodbath. Lin Yuan, did things go smoothly? Lin Yuan nodded. Very smoothly. Was there anything exciting about the exhibition match just now, Big Brother Lu? Hearing this, Lu Jie's expression immediately became serious. The Dragon Gate Guild Club's Fong Duo showed his hidden trump card. Fong Duo is very similar to Long Tao. Long Tao's main fei, the Sea King Chalk Mosasaurus, did not hide it, and Fong Duo's main fei has always been that Platinum 2/Fantasy 2 Fury Terror Ray. But I didn't expect Fong Duo to actually secretly nurture a Platinum 6/Fantasy 2 Turbo Spinner Tooth Shark. Fong Duo exposed his trump card at this time. It looks like he's going to attack the Radiance 100 sequence ranking this year. Based on the strength Fong Duo has shown now, it shouldn't be impossible for him to rise from sequence 43 to the top 30. Lin Yuan found that although Lu Jie's expression was very serious when talking about Fong Duo's strength, there was no sense of seriousness. It seemed that after the Insect Queen absorbed the Blade Queen Bee's mental toxin and completed its mutation, Lu Jie no longer felt that Fong Duo's exposed strength was a threat. End of this chapter. Chapter 623. When Lu Jie had returned to the Radiance 100 sequence, he had defeated the original Radiance 100 sequence number 30, Invisible Coil, Lan Feichuan. He had replaced Lan Feichuan's position. However, this ranking was only because Lu Jie had withdrawn from the sequence to protect Cold Frost City. Now that he had returned to the sequence, it was the privilege given by the Radiance Sacred Hall. Before the Radiance 100 sequence selection, the Radiance 100 would undergo a major sequence change and determine the seeded contestants from sequence number 9 to sequence number 100 for the selection. Lin Yuan asked, "Big Brother Lu, are you planning to charge forward again this year?" Upon hearing that, Lu Jie nodded with a firm and full of fighting spirit. "Lin Yuan, it won't be a problem for you to enter the Radiance 100 sequence this year. Since you've also entered the Radiance 100 sequence this year, I'm prepared to see where the limits of my current strength are." As he spoke, Lu Jie's eyes flashed with confidence. After the Insect Queen had mutated, as its contractor, Lu Jie only knew that the Insect Queen had undergone an earth-shattering change. However, he could not be sure how strong it was now. The Radiance 100 sequence's ranking could be used as a touchstone for the mutated Insect Queen. At the same time, Lu Jie thought of the strength that Lin Yuan had displayed in the evolved Water World Dimensional Rift. Had it not been for the first-year newcomers entering the Radiance 100 sequence only being ranked from sequence number 91 to number 100, Lin Yuan's ranking would probably be higher. Big Brother Lu, Fong Duo took out his trump card and allowed the Dragon Gate Guild Club to suppress the Rhine Guild Club. Didn't the people from the Rhine Club show their trump cards? Lu Jie asked. The All-Star Matches exhibition match doesn't have much value. Although the champion team can increase popularity, apart from the Barbarian Snake Guild Club, no other guild club can enter the top 16 with low popularity. If they have tricks up their sleeves, they should be preparing to use them in the Real S tournament. Fong Duo exposed his trump card too early. When the Rhine Guild Club and the Dragon Gate Guild Club fight, the Rhine Guild Club will make a battle plan in advance to target Fong Duo. I feel that the Dragon Gate Guild Club's 5th member is still uncertain this year. With the 4 main members and Qin Hongfeng participating in the final battle, they shouldn't be able to beat the Rhine Guild Club, which hasn't revealed any trump card yet. As Lu Jie spoke, he shifted his gaze to the Dragon Gate Guild Club's seating area. He noticed that Fong Duo was also looking in his direction. Fong Duo didn't expect his eyes to meet Lu Jie's. Fong Duo stretched out his hand and made a gesture. Lu Jie looked at Fong Duo, who had a watermelon haircut and was smiling heartlessly, and nodded slightly as a greeting. Fong Duo turned his head to look at Long Tao, who was flipping through a stack of documents. "Boss, Ah Feng's opponent seems to be a lucky spectator who came with Lu Jie." As he spoke, Fong Duo extended his hand towards the fried chicken in Zhao Xiaochun's hand. He tore a thigh from the fried chicken and stuffed it into his mouth. Zhao Xiaochun glared at Fong Duo and put the fried chicken behind her. "I'm going to die." Fong Duo. "Just now when I was eating my hamburger, you took away all my lettuce leaves, and now you want to steal my fried chicken," Long Tao said helplessly. He did not expect Fong Duo and Zhao Xiaochun to quarrel in front of so many people. "Xiaochun, Stop eating. Is Mu Xiangju's food that good? And I even let you pack so many of them. Seeing Zhao Xiaochun eating the fried chicken in her hand like a hamster, Long Tao silently lit a candle for Su in his heart. Upon hearing Fang Duoduo say that the woman in the duel arena had come with Lu Jie, Long Tao subconsciously looked in Lu Jie's direction. However, when he saw the youth wearing white and blue spirit chi clothes next to Lu Jie, Long Tao's expression immediately froze. Long Tao still remembered that when he had been competing with the tea attendants in the Radiant Moon Palace at the Leaning Moon Mountain, he had exhausted all the spiritual power in his body. It was the youth sitting next to Lu Jie who had helped him recover his strength and prevented him from making a fool of himself and falling to the ground. Long Tao was a smart person and could tell from Cold Moon's attitude toward the youth. He knew that he and Qing Rui were destined to be foils. Presumably, this youth was already the Moon Empress' disciple. After seeing Lin Yuan, Long Tao put down the documents in his hand and frowned at the arena. He had a feeling that the challenge later would not be so simple. In the duel arena, Chu Ci and Qin Hongfeng had already set up their stances. Before the duel, both sides had to reveal their spirit chi professionals type. When Huaziyuan, the host and commentator, heard that Chu Ci was a defense-type spirit chi professional, he could not help but break out in a cold sweat for her. Chen Hongfeng was a combat-class spirit chi professional. The smooth-toothed elephant lizard was a pure violent melee fighter, while the huge-tailed swamp lizard was a flexible long-range magic-type attacker. The combination of a close-range and long-range attack was very comprehensive. Defense-type spirit chi professionals mostly relied on team combat. In such a duel, Huaziyuan was really afraid that Chu Ci, who was a defense-type spirit chi professional, would become a live target the moment she entered the duel arena. Although he was worried, Huaziyuan saw that both sides had set up their stances. It was about time, so he shouted in a deep voice, "Let the duel begin." Accompanied by the announcement of the start of the duel, two violent roars echoed. One of the roars was very loud and carried a cruel flavor. The other roar wasn't loud, but when that roar sounded, a loud roar rang out. The ground at Chen Hongfeng's feet had become a quagmire with a radius of 20 square meters. The huge-tailed swamp lizard immediately hid in the swamp that had just appeared. After being summoned, the huge, smooth-toothed elephant lizard stopped in front of Chen Hongfeng and stared at Chu Ci, who was opposite Chen Hongfeng. Swinging its thick and powerful tail, it prepared to charge forward. Huaziyuan immediately explained. The Dragon Gate Guild Club's Chen Hongfeng summoned his signature Fey, the Gold X/Epic Smooth-Toothed Elephant Lizard and the Gold X/Epic Huge-Tailed Swamp Lizard. As soon as Huaziyuan introduced Chen Hongfeng's Fey, he saw the lucky spectator standing opposite Chen Hongfeng waving his hand. A butterfly that looked like it was carved out of high-quality yellow jade flew out of his palm. The butterfly's wings were decorated with gorgeous patterns of peonies. As the commentator and host of the tournament, Huaziyuan was a Class 2 creation master, so he could immediately recognize a Fey's grade and quality. Huaziyuan widened his eyes and said in surprise, "This is actually a Bronze X/Epic Butterfly Fey." As soon as Huaziyuan's voice fell, the originally noisy audience became completely silent. The second one was even worse. End of chapter. Chapter 624. Any spirit chi professional knew what a bronze/fantasy breed Fey meant. Chu Ci had revealed her bronze/fantasy obsidian iron wild bull in the Redbud Spirit Chi Academy and was named the #1 genius of the Radiance Federation's younger generation. It could be seen how rare a bronze/fantasy breed Fey was. In fact, apart from showing potential, a bronze/fantasy breed Fey also meant an extraordinary background. Otherwise, even if one comprehended a willpower rune, it would be useless without a bronze/legend Fey. The challenger was wearing a silver mask, so no one knew his age. Even if this lucky masked spectator was older than Chen Hongfeng, just his bronze/fantasy breed Fey alone was already more talented than Chen Hongfeng, who had 2 gold/epic Feys. After all, Chen Hongfeng didn't have a single fantasy breed Fey yet. The scene on the field made the palace of glow light fall silent for half a minute, and then there was a burst of violent shouts. The entire arena's atmosphere was even comparable to the duel between the Dragon Gate Guild Club and the Rhine Guild Club. Bronze/Fantasy Breed. NB. I didn't expect the first challenge to be so exciting. I actually saw a Bronze/Fantasy Breed Fae in reality. But even a Bronze/Fantasy Breed can't beat 2 Pinnacle Gold Large Lizards. Fuck, it's actually a Bronze/Fantasy Breed Fae. And it's a butterfly species Fae. It looks much better than the Iron Bull Princess's Bronze/Fantasy Breed. Lin Yuan listened to the noise and didn't think much of it at first. However, when he heard the words Iron Bull Princess, he was surprised to see a fatty waving his hands excitedly not far from him. In the entire Radiance Federation, there were Bronze/Fantasy Breed Faes. Some Pinnacle factions with Pinnacle Class 4 Creation Masters had the opportunity to nurture Bronze/Legend Faes. These Bronze/Legend Faes naturally had to display their greatest value and become Bronze/Fantasy Breed existences. However, after these Bronze/Legend Faes were promoted to Bronze/Fantasy Breed, they would soon be promoted to Silver/Fantasy Breed. It was considered a trump card of the top faction's younger generation and wouldn't be revealed. It was also because of this reason that Chu Ci had caused such a huge commotion in the Redbud Spirit Chi Academy when she revealed her Bronze/Fantasy Breed Obsidian Iron Wild Bull. Bronze/Fantasy Breed Faes were already rare. The Iron Ox Princess, this fatty was referring to, was probably Chu Ci. As the elder brother, Lin Yuan heard his sister being called the Iron Ox Princess. He couldn't help but clench his fists. Apart from Iron Tong's sister nurturing Plan 4.0, Lin Yuan suddenly had a new plan. Iron Ox Princess crushing Plan 1.0. Lin Yuan believed that the Iron Ox Princess's Plan crushing 1.0 would definitely help Chu Ci get rid of this unpleasant title. Otherwise, it would be too unpleasant for a girl to be called a big Iron Ox. He knew that Chu Ci had a Bronze/Fantasy Obsidian Iron Wild Bull, but he did not expect her to have a Bronze/Fantasy Butterfly Fae. From the looks of it, this Bronze/Fantasy Butterfly Fae was very similar to the Emerald Jade Butterfly, which had the strongest defense among Butterfly Faes. Lu Jie knew that Lin Yuan could take out a Bronze/Legend Fae. However, having a Bronze/Legend Fae was one thing, and comprehending 2 willpower runes was another. Previously, there were many posts on Star Web saying that Chu Ci, the Radiance Federation's #1 genius, did not live up to her name. Ever since Chu Ci had been called the Radiance Federation's #1 genius on Star Web, she had been slandered a lot. Lu Jie thought. When Chu Ci summoned the Obsidian Iron Wild Bull, even if she was wearing a silver mask, the Obsidian Iron Wild Bull's appearance was enough to prove her identity. Although there were many similar types of common Faes, after fusing with a common Fae and the willpower rune to evolve into a fantasy breed, it would become a fantasy breed. Due to the different willpower runes, each fantasy breed Fae was considered a unique existence. The signature Fae could often represent a Spirit Chi professional's identity. Fong Duo of the Dragon Gate Guild Club asked Long Tao with his mouth agape. "Captain, say something. Is this butterfly species Fae a Bronze/Fantasy breed?" Long Tao glanced at Fong Duo and said, "Even if you aren't a creation master, can't you tell if this butterfly Fae is a fantasy breed?" Originally, I wanted Ah Fong to represent the Dragon Gate Guild Club in choosing the lucky spectators so that Ah Fong could show his face more. It would be helpful for Ah Fong when he enters the main team in the future. But when the opponent summons a Bronze/Fantasy breed Fae, the attention of this challenge is destined not to fall on Ah Fong. Even if Ah Fong wins the challenge, it's equivalent to losing. If I didn't see wrongly, this butterfly Fae should be a mutated jadeite butterfly. According to the Class 5 scholar, Teacher Bobo's research, a Fae's mutation talent is dependent on the complexity of the mutated Fae. This butterfly Fae has a positive mutation based on the jadeite butterfly. Upon hearing Long Tao's words, Fong Duo looked at the golden butterfly fluttering around the woman. The golden butterflies fluttered on the woman's dress, which was glowing with resplendent starlight. Fong Duo looked at Chen Hongfeng's 2 lizard Faes again. Even so, Ah Fong will definitely win. Long Tao looked at Fong Duo as though he was looking at a deity and said, Fong Duo, have you noticed that you've gained at least 10 kilograms since you started exploring shops with Zhao Xiaochun? Your double chin is about to come out. Your IQ has also been digested along with the food you eat and then excreted. Upon hearing Long Tao's words, Fong Duo touched his watermelon head and pinched his double chin. His mind was spinning rapidly. He thought that Long Tao was hinting to him not to always explore shops with Zhao Xiaochun. Or was he showing that he was fat, or was he despising him for being stupid? This was really a difficult question. Before Fong Duo could think of an answer, he heard Long Tao speak again. If it were you, would you only form a contract with a bronze/fantasy breed fae? Upon hearing Long Tao's words, Fong Duo was startled. Then, he turned his head and stared at the arena. At that moment, a long bull's voice suddenly echoed. A black and strong bull species fae appeared in front of the silver-masked woman. This black bull species fae's entire body was emitting a rich metallic luster. It was also this metallic luster that made this bull species fae's black color look like a multicolored black. The first one was even more beautiful. End of this chapter. Chapter 625. Elementalized metal horns constantly condensed on the cow fae's head. The sharp horns flashed with a cold metallic glint, giving off an abnormally cold feeling. Huozian had slightly lost his composure when he saw Chu Ci summon the yellow jadeite golden butterfly. Huozian had not expected an experienced commentator like him to forget to introduce the yellow jadeite golden butterfly's grade. However, looking at the atmosphere, Huozian was not in a hurry to introduce it. Instead, he planned to wait for the audience to vent their emotions and calm down a little before introducing this bronze/fantasy breed butterfly fae. However, before Huozian could introduce it, the lucky chosen spectator actually summoned another fantasy breed fae. Upon seeing this newly summoned fantasy breed fae, Huozian immediately knew that he did not need to introduce it to this lucky spectator. Just by looking at this newly summoned fantasy breed fae, the audience must have already known the identity of this lucky spectator. Huozian looked at the silver-masked Chu Ci and immediately decided to change his commentary strategy. No matter who won or lost, the focus of his commentary would shift from Chen Hongfeng to Chu Ci. The instant Chu Ci summoned the obsidian iron wild bull, the audience's voice seemed to break through the radiant light palace's gilded roof. The moment Chu Ci summoned the obsidian iron wild bull, many spectators shouted. Then, someone started shouting, and many people in the audience started shouting. Iron Bull Princess! Hit him! Iron Bull Princess! Charge! At that moment, he heard the fatty yell not far from him. Iron Bull Princess! Dance your recoil dance! Use your horns to push him out! The corners of his mouth could not help but twitch. Chu Ci, who had just summoned the obsidian iron wild bull, also twitched her mouth. Chu Ci's face behind the silver mask revealed a conflicted expression. Isn't my little iron block cute? Why am I called Iron Bull Princess out of nowhere? It's too much. After the clamor subsided, Huozian began to introduce loudly. I didn't expect the first lucky spectator to be the #1 genius on StarWeb. Bronze X/Fantasy I Yellow Jadeite Golden Butterfly and Silver V/Fantasy 2 Obsidian Iron Wild Bull. At 16 years old, they're like this. Huozian talked non-stop about Chu Ci. It was as if Chen Hongfeng, who was supposed to be the main character of the challenge, had become an irrelevant person. As the official host and commentator of the Guild Alliance, Huozian's commentary during the Dragon Gate Guild Club's challenge to select the lucky spectators was the same as weakening Chen Hongfeng's presence. To put it simply, Huozian was adjusting his commentary based on the situation on the field. In other words, it was a provocation to the Dragon Gate Club. However, all of this did not cause Long Tao any dissatisfaction. Instead, Long Tao wanted to thank Huozian when he saw the situation on the field. If Chen Hongfeng really lost, then Huozian's current commentary method would weaken Chen Hongfeng's presence. The audience's attention was focused on the silver-masked woman, which could also relieve some of the pressure that Chen Hongfeng had to face. Long Tao sighed softly. Perhaps the Radiance 100 sequence will have a new minimum age next year. At this moment, Chen Hongfeng took a deep breath. His long experience in competitions made Chen Hongfeng instinctively ignore the cheers that did not belong to him. Just by looking at the two fantasy breed fays that the woman opposite him had summoned, and one of them was a silver/fantasy 2 fay. Chen Hongfeng knew that his next battle would not be easy. Chen Hongfeng did not have time to complain about his godlike luck in the all-star match, which was the easiest to select the lucky spectators. Instead, his mind started to spin rapidly on how to carry out the most effective battle later. The Silver V/Fantasy 2 Obsidian Iron Wild Bull's strength was already comparable to the Gold X/Epic Smooth-Toothed Elephant Lizard. His Gold X/Epic Huge-Tailed Swamp Lizard was a major grade higher than the Bronze X/Fantasy Breed Jadeite Golden Butterfly. With such strength comparison, he still had the advantage in overall strength. However, facing the two unknown fantasy breed fays with two more exclusive skills than ordinary fays, Chen Hongfeng had a headache. She did not stop after summoning the Obsidian Iron Wild Bull. Instead, she circulated her spiritual energy to summon the Bronze X/Epic Burning Sunflower Gemini again. After Chu Ci summoned the Burning Sunflower twins, they immediately sat on Chu Ci's shoulders, one on the left and one on the right. Compared to the two fantasy breed fays that Chu Ci had summoned, the Burning Sunflower Gemini was a rare fairy source-type life form. However, it did not cause cheers like when Chu Ci had summoned the Yellow Jadeite Golden Butterfly and the Obsidian Iron Wild Bull. However, the Creation Masters present could not help but look at Chu Ci with astonishment. The most basic requirement for the fairy source-type life form, the Burning Sunflower, to give birth to the Gemini was that the Burning Sunflower itself had to reach legend when it was at bronze. After giving birth to the Gemini, the Burning Sunflower's grade would fall back to normal I/normal. And now, the Burning Sunflower Gemini had reached Bronze X/Epic. What a huge amount of Creation Masters resources! Thinking of the young girl's terrifying Fey configuration, the Creation Masters present knew that the reason why the Burning Sunflower Gemini was stuck at Bronze X was probably because it was waiting for the young girl to comprehend another willpower rune. The phase quality that other spirit chi professionals pursued had become ordinary in front of this young girl. The phase quality that other spirit chi professionals pursued had become ordinary in front of this young girl. What kind of noble lady was she? The moment the Burning Sunflower Gemini was summoned, Chen Hongfeng immediately felt a burning sensation coming towards him. Chen Hongfeng quickly controlled the huge-tailed swamp lizard to quickly expand a large area of the swamp. He let the swamp cover his surroundings and used the water vapor emitted by the swamp to offset the burning sensation. However, Chen Hongfeng keenly noticed that the water in the swamp created by the huge-tailed swamp lizard was constantly decreasing. Even though the decrease in water was not fast, after a period of time, the swamp created by the huge-tailed swamp lizard would become a sticky swamp. At that time, the huge-tailed swamp lizard's silver ability, Mud Escape, and gold ability, Rotten Mud Rain, would be affected. Logically speaking, when Chen Hongfeng chose the lucky spectator, the selected lucky spectator should attack first. But now, he was feeling the heat in the air and the ability to strip the water from the heat. Chen Hongfeng could not care so much and immediately commanded the smooth-toothed elephant lizard to rush in Chu Ci's direction. Long Tao had appointed Chen Hongfeng as the Dragon Gate Guild Club's representative and represented the entire Dragon Gate Guild Club. Therefore, Chen Hongfeng had to win this battle no matter what. The second battle was even worse. End of this chapter. Chapter 626. When Chu Ci saw the smooth-toothed elephant lizard charging toward her, she did not panic at all. Instead, she shouted, "Little iron block, use iron horn strike." Before the battle, Chu Ci and Chen Hongfeng had installed sound amplification devices on them. Thus, Chu Ci's instructions were clearly transmitted to the entire Radiant Light Palace. Chu Ci's voice trembled when she said the word, "strike," and she looked a little nervous. However, Lin Yuan knew that Chu Ci was often very calm when she was really nervous. The obvious trembling in her voice meant that she was excited. Lin Yuan looked at the obsidian iron wild bull charging toward the smooth-toothed dragon lizard and thought, Chu Ci, let me see your growth. Chu Ci, who was on the arena, suddenly turned her head and looked in Lin Yuan's direction. Her eyes flashed with determination. Chu Ci had already made up her mind that she would do her best to win this match. She wanted to prove to Lin Yuan the results she had achieved in the past year. The smooth-toothed elephant lizard, which was about 5 meters tall and 10 meters long, was a big guy. It was much bigger than the obsidian iron wild bull, which was more than 3 meters long and 2 meters tall. However, when the smooth-toothed elephant lizard and the obsidian iron wild bull collided. When the two collided, a loud bang rang out as their flesh and blood collided. In terms of strength, the two could be said to be evenly matched. But at that moment, a huge sword horn with a metal outer layer suddenly emerged from the obsidian iron wild bull's head. The huge sword horn mercilessly pierced through the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's tough skin. It pierced its forelimbs, causing a bouquet of blood to bloom. The obsidian iron wild bull's attack did not stop after the elementalized metal horn hit. The original sword horn formed by the metal elements disappeared. Then, sword horns of different shapes appeared out of thin air and pierced into the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's forelimbs from other angles. The sword horns also changed shape wantonly and destroyed the flesh in the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's forelimbs. Chen Hongfeng did not expect this young challenger to be so decisive. He had attacked first, but the smooth-toothed elephant lizard had been repeatedly stabbed by the fantasy breed bull Fei in the collision. Just as the sharp iron horn bull's third sword horn appeared out of thin air and pierced the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's forelimb, Chen Hongfeng shouted, "Smooth-toothed elephant lizard, use tragic claw. Then use crazy bite on the target's forelimbs. At the same time, block the wound with oily mucus." Following Chen Hongfeng's command, the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's body suddenly glistened with oil. Then a thick layer of oily mucus was discharged from the oil glands on the back of the smooth-toothed elephant lizard. When the oily mucus attached to the 3 big holes in the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's forelimbs, it directly sealed the holes. It prevented the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's blood from flowing out in large amounts. At the same time, the smooth-toothed elephant lizard fiercely waved its other forelimb that was not attacked. He swung it at the obsidian iron wild bull's head. Just as the lizard's claws were about to touch the obsidian iron wild bull's head, a golden jade-like transparent round shield appeared around it. The smooth-toothed elephant lizard's tragic claw, which had a tearing effect and a bleeding effect, hit the emerald golden butterfly's skill, gold emerald shield. It directly caused a crack to appear on the bronze X/fantasy eye gold emerald shield. Then, the smooth-toothed elephant lizard opened its mouth, and its huge jagged teeth clamped down on the gold emerald shield like a clamp. The moment the smooth-toothed elephant lizard bit the gold emerald shield, it immediately spun like a top. The spinning force increased the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's strength, and it directly crushed the gold emerald shield. The spinning smooth-toothed elephant lizard had just been hit 3 times by the obsidian iron wild bull's iron horn while it was still spinning, so it hated the obsidian iron wild bull to the core. At this time, the smooth-toothed elephant lizard relied on its combat instincts and used its 2 forelimbs to hit the obsidian iron wild bull's back with its tragic claw. Since the obsidian iron wild bull's strength was comparable to the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's, even if the obsidian iron wild bull had metallized skin. However, the tragic claw's tearing effect immediately opened up several deep gashes on the obsidian iron wild bull's back. The moment the gashes opened up, the obsidian iron wild bull's back was instantly dyed red with blood. The obsidian iron wild bull let out a violent moo in pain. At this time, Chen Hongfeng had already decisively ordered the Gold X/Epic Huge-Tailed Swamp Lizard to use the AoE skill, Decaying Mud Rain. The Decaying Mud Rain did not only cover the obsidian iron wild bull's body. It also covered Chu Ci, who was commanding the obsidian iron wild bull. Faced with the menacing rain of corrosive mud, Chu Ci directly ordered the yellow jadeite golden butterfly. Little wings, use gold emerald shield again. A golden jadeite shield appeared around Chu Ci. It helped Chu Ci isolate the corrosive decaying mud rain. At the same time, The gold emerald shield also enveloped the yellow jadeite golden butterfly and the burning sunflower Gemini, who were sitting on Chu Si's shoulder. Seeing the menacing decaying mud rain, Chu Si decisively commanded the obsidian iron wild bull. Little iron block, use pain buffer. Upon receiving Chu Si's command, the obsidian iron wild bull's body flashed with an obsidian luster. When the rain of rotten mud hit the obsidian iron wild bull's body, it was immediately repelled by the obsidian glow. The giant-tailed swamp lizard dealt elemental damage through the combination of water and earth elements. It was perfectly countered by the obsidian iron wild bull's silver skill, pain buffer. At this point, the commentator, Huazun, had almost shouted himself hoarse. Although this was only a challenge to select the lucky spectators, the value of this challenge was too much. A middle school student was controlling 2 fantasy breed fays and fighting with Chen Hongfeng, a reserve member of the Dragon Gate Guild Club who had been the main force for many matches. As time went on, the odds of victory were 50-50. After the S tournament ended, this match would probably become the biggest news of the all-star competition. Huazun said loudly as he sensed the situation on both sides. Both sides appear to be evenly matched, but according to my analysis, the obsidian iron wild bull skill can negate elemental damage. It's the same as weakening the huge-tailed swamp lizard's attacks and restraining it. Therefore, I believe that the challenger, Chu Si, has a very high chance of winning. Huazun's words caused the cheers of the audience to stop. Huazun spoke. The result of this match is out. Huazun is awesome. His poisonous milk defeated the Iron Wild Bull Princess. Huazun, how can my wife lose? When he heard this voice, his originally gentle eyes immediately became sharp as he scanned the surroundings. First update. End of this chapter. Chapter 627. However, with 200,000 viewers, he did not know which damn hooligan had said, "How could my wife lose?" Otherwise, he would never mind letting him put away his dangerous thoughts. Chu Si paid no attention to the clamor in the hall and the rain of rotten mud that never stopped. Since the rotten mud rain was an AoE skill, its damage was not considered strong. The yellow jade golden butterfly's bronze X/fantasy I strength could also resist it well. However, Chu Si knew that the silver pain buffer of the huge-tailed swamp lizard was not immune to elemental damage. How much damage the obsidian iron wild bull had suffered from the rotten mud rain would have to be returned after the layer of obsidian-like light on its body dissipated. Chu Si immediately controlled the burning sunflower Gemini to use burning flame to fly toward the smooth-toothed elephant lizard and the huge-tailed swamp lizard that had emerged from the swamp. The 2 elf-like cute burning sunflower Gemini flew toward their respective targets. Chen Hongfeng did not know the effects of the burning sunflower Gemini's abilities and only regarded them as a source-type life form with fire-type abilities. Chen Hongfeng had 2 gold X/epic lizard species fays, so he did not care about a bronze X/epic fairy source-type life form. However, the moment the burning sunflower Gemini attached themselves to the smooth-toothed elephant lizard, a layer of red flames like a flaming cicada coat ignited on the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's body. The effect of burning flame stripping caused the layer of flame cicada coat on the smooth-toothed elephant lizard to quickly strip the water from its oily mucus while roasting it. The oily mucus turned from its original viscous state into pure flowing animal fat and lost its stickiness. This caused a large amount of blood to flow out of the wounds caused by the obsidian iron wild bull's 3 iron horns. The moment the blood flowed out, the gemstones on the burning sunflower Gemini's foreheads glowed with a green brilliance. Obviously, the burning sunflower Gemini was using their exclusive skill, Gemini Care, to absorb the vitality taken away by burning the smooth-toothed elephant lizard. Chen Hongfeng cursed inwardly and controlled the smooth-toothed elephant lizard to use its gold ability, Wave Treading. The smooth-toothed elephant lizard's body shook violently, and a large amount of water elemental energy gushed out of its body. The smooth-toothed elephant lizard turned its head and collided with the burning sunflower Gemini, who were flying around it. However, Chen Hongfeng's frown deepened as he bumped into the air. Chen Hongfeng had never thought that a Bronze X/Epic Fairy Source-type life form would be immune to physical damage. Chen Hongfeng commanded as he watched the other burning sunflower Gemini fly towards the huge-tailed swamp lizard. Giant-tailed swamp lizard, use smelly mud. The huge-tailed swamp lizard quickly spat out 3 balls of grayish-green mud that emitted a nauseating smell. However, when the burning sunflower Gemini's body was hit by the mud, the burning sunflower Gemini simply ignored the attack. It firmly attached itself to the huge-tailed swamp lizard's body. The moment the giant-tail swamp lizard entered the smelly swamp, the burning sunflower Gemini immediately separated from the giant-tail swamp lizard. However, the burning sunflower Gemini that had escaped from the giant-tailed swamp lizard was still burning with flames all over their bodies as they firmly guarded the area of 20 to 30 square meters of the smelly swamp. When the huge-tailed swamp lizard appeared, he would attach himself to it again. Chen Hongfeng clenched his fists tightly. I actually made 2 consecutive mistakes in the battle. Chen Hongfeng never expected that a Bronze X/Epic Fairy Source-type life form, the burning sunflower, would not only be immune to physical damage, but also elemental damage. Could it be that this silver-masked girl was using a cheat code? Looking at the silver mask, Chen Hongfeng could not help but recall the scene of the blue flash purple butterflies sealing the smelly swamp. It was so similar to this scene. However, the blue flash purple butterfly had been replaced by the burning sunflower Gemini. The flames on the burning sunflower Gemini's body roasted the smelly swamp, quickly evaporating the little water in it. Once the swamp was dry, the scarlet flames would pour in through the cracks in the swamp. They continued to strip away the water in the depths. The obsidian iron wild bull's silver skill, pain buffer, was over, and the corrosive damage of the rotten mud rain was directly applied to the obsidian iron wild bull's body. The obsidian iron wild bull's metal skin became mottled, and the corrosive effect continued to seep into the obsidian iron wild bull's flesh. Chu Ci did not recall the burning sunflower Gemini, who had sealed the huge-tailed swamp lizard. After weighing the pros and cons, the burning sunflower Gemini on the smooth-toothed elephant lizard used distorted heat wave and attached it to the obsidian iron wild bull. At the same time, he asked the burning sunflower to use its exclusive skill, Gemini Care, to inject the vitality collected from the smooth-toothed elephant lizard and the huge-tailed swamp lizard into the obsidian iron wild bull. The burning sunflower's exclusive skill, Gemini Care, was paired with the obsidian iron wild bull's exclusive skill, pain absorption. The obsidian iron wild bull's injuries were stabilized thanks to double heal. Chu Ci was also facing a huge problem. She was only a C-rank spirit chi professional, while Chen Hongfeng was a B-rank spirit chi professional. While Chu Ci and Chen Hongfeng were fighting, Chen Hongfeng hadn't used up much of his spiritual energy. However, she had already used up more than half of her spiritual power. Chen Hongfeng looked at the Bronze X/Epic Fairy Source-type burning sunflower. It could actually help Faye's recover. He cursed in his heart. He was only picking a lucky audience member. How did he end up picking a cheater? He looked at the recovering obsidian iron wild bull and the smooth-toothed elephant lizard, whose forelimbs were still bleeding. Chen Hongfeng gritted his teeth and decisively used the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's exclusive skill, Burning Blood Strike. In an instant, the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's greenish-black body emitted a thick layer of purplish-red luster. The smooth-toothed elephant lizard's aura suddenly rose. It opened its mouth and spat out a dark red energy beam. It shot toward the obsidian iron wild bull, which was less than 5 meters away from it. When Chu Ci sensed the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's mutation, she decisively withdrew the gold jade shield outside her body. Instead, she let the yellow jadeite golden butterfly attach the yellow jadeite shield to the obsidian iron wild bull's body and cooperate with the burning sunflower Gemini's distorted heat wave to protect it. Although the huge-tailed swamp lizard was forced into the swamp by the other burning sunflower Gemini, the rotten mud rain did not stop. The rotten mud rain was not as strong as it was at the beginning, with less than 1/3 of its original power. However, Chu Ci's actions still made everyone present, including Lin Yuan and Lu Jie, stand up. When the rotten mud rain fell on Chu Ci, A green chain suddenly appeared on the obsidian iron wild bull's body and wrapped around Chu Si's left hand. A long red energy chain also appeared on Chu Si's right hand, and the other end was connected to the obsidian iron wild bull's body. The second one was even more powerful. End of this chapter. Chapter 628. When Chu Si was injured by the carrion mud rain, the damage was transmitted to the obsidian iron wild bull through the red chain. The long green chain kept feeding back the obsidian iron wild bull's vitality. The audience did not know, but Lin Yuan knew that this was the obsidian iron wild bull's elite skill, sacrifice. Lin Yuan had taken out all his savings to buy this obsidian iron wild bull, which was the best choice he could make. This was also the best choice that the heavens and the unseen heavens luck could give her. An elite/epic sharp rock bull was not outstanding, and Lin Yuan could easily enhance it now. However, this rare elite skill, sacrifice, had allowed Lin Yuan to have a lot of resources. He still felt that encountering the sharp iron horn bull with its damaged roots and elite skill, sacrifice, was the best thing he had ever picked up. Fortunately, no creation masters would go to the Fey wholesale market in a small place like the Xia region. Even if there were good things, they would be covered in dust. When the obsidian iron wild bull's level was low, the effect of sacrifice was not obvious. Now that the obsidian iron wild bull's strength had reached Silver V/Fantasy 2, the effects of the elite sacrifice could finally begin to show. When Chu Si withdrew the yellow jade golden butterfly's golden jade shield in the carrion mud rain, Huaziyuan, who was commentating, immediately turned to look at a middle-aged man beside him. When the middle-aged man saw Huaziyuan's gaze, he secretly mobilized his spiritual energy, and a pink clam shell appeared in his palm. When the pink clam shell opened and closed, pink bubbles were constantly spat out. It looked exceptionally dreamy. It was also this middle-aged man who summoned the pink clamshell that allowed Lu Jie to return to his seat in the audience stand. The live duel might only be a challenge, but the collision of Fays wasn't a joke. In fact, it was easier to use Fays to attack spirit chi professionals in order to determine the winner in a real battle. Real battles had always been very dangerous. The middle-aged man beside Huaziyuan was a staff member of the Guild Alliance's official team to protect the spirit chi professionals and Fays in the arena. Each staff member was at least A rank, and their contracted Fays were the standard Fays that the Guild Alliance had prepared for the competition, the plum rain wall snail. The plum rain mussel looked small and cute, and the pink bubbles it spat out were very dreamy. She could easily arouse the young girl's heart hidden in the depths of an 80-year-old man's heart. However, this plum rain wall snail that was filled with the heart of a young girl was an absolute safeguard erected by the Guild Alliance for the players in the arena. The shell of the plum rain conch held up the walls of the conch. The walls of the conch were abnormally sturdy and could withstand physical, elemental, and even mental damage. At the same time, a pink plum rain would fall on the inside of the conch. The plum rain had a powerful stimulating effect, but it couldn't instantly revive a Fey that was on the verge of death. However, it could prolong a severely injured Fey's life. After the convenience, healing-type spirit chi professionals and creation masters would take over the treatment. However, every time the plum rain mussel attacked, it usually meant that a Fey or a spirit chi professional would suffer a fatal attack. It was impossible for a Fey's death to determine the outcome of a real arena duel. The middle-aged man's use of the plum rain mussel would disrupt the competition. Therefore, the middle-aged man had to make the correct judgment based on the situation on the field. Unless it was absolutely necessary, he would not easily make a move. When the middle-aged man saw the green and red chains connecting Chu Si and the brilliant iron wild bull, he no longer paid attention to Chu Si. Instead, he looked at the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's exclusive skill, Blood Burning Strike, which shot out an energy beam from its tongue. As a staff member of the Guild Alliance, this was not the first time the middle-aged man had seen Qin Hongfeng's smooth-toothed elephant lizard use its exclusive skill, Blood Burning Strike. The smooth-toothed elephant lizard burned all the water elemental energy and blood in its body and would enter a near-death state after activating the skill. It could be said to contain all the energy in the Gold X/Epic smooth-toothed elephant lizard's body. This made the middle-aged man pour his spiritual power into the plum rain mussel, ready to immediately treat the brilliant iron wild bull after it was hit by the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's blood-burning strike. It would prolong the brilliant iron wild bull's life. Logically speaking, the middle-aged man had been prepared to block the blood-burning strike and determined that the smooth-toothed elephant lizard and the brilliant iron wild bull would be eliminated at the same time. After all, the smooth-toothed elephant lizard would enter a near-death state after using blood-burning strike and would not contribute any strength in this battle. All he could do was become a live target. However, Chu Si's yellow jadeite golden butterfly and burning sunflower Gemini cast 2 layers of shields on the luminous iron wild bull. This meant that Chu Si was willing to let the luminous iron wild bull take the damage. This made it difficult for the middle-aged man to weigh the pros and cons. As a king-class expert, the middle-aged man knew that she had a shocking background after seeing her Fey equipment. Therefore, the middle-aged man did not want anything to happen to the brilliant iron wild bull because of his negligence. Otherwise, there would be a lot of trouble in the future. Just as the burning blood strike struck the burning sunflower's elite skill, distorted heat wave, the high-temperature heat wave was directly pierced through by the energy beam. The high-temperature heat wave that was pierced through quickly retracted and surged towards the energy beam formed by the burning blood strike. However, this distorted heat wave only offset a little of the energy of the burning blood strike and did not have any obvious effect. Chu Si immediately narrowed her eyes and shouted, "Yellow Jade Golden Butterfly, activate your exclusive skill, Tremor Counterattack. Glorious Iron Wild Bull, activate exclusive skill, Pain Absorption." The burning sunflower Gemini has injected all the life force of the Gemini protection into the blazing iron wild bull's body. Then, Chu Si commanded her 3 Fays in succession. The yellow jade golden butterfly, the glorious iron wild bull, and the burning sunflower Gemini immediately used their exclusive skills. The energy beam formed by the burning blood strike penetrated the gold jade shield. The gold jade shield instantly exploded, and due to its exclusive skill, Counterattack Tremor, it was like a large bell. A portion of the energy damage was blasted towards the smooth-toothed elephant lizard in the form of an energy tremor. Logically speaking, the yellow jade golden butterfly's exclusive skill, Counterattack Tremor, had a counterattack effect. Since the yellow jade golden butterfly was only a bronze/fantasy breed, its rebound ability was not considered strong. However, the burning blood strike's energy was simply too massive. Even if it was only a portion of the rebound, the huge energy tremor caused the air to become a little distorted. The smooth-toothed elephant lizard had fallen into a state of near death due to using its exclusive skill, Burning Blood Strike. Now that it was severely shaken by the energy tremor, dark red blood flowed out of its eyes, nose, and mouth. The first one was even worse. End of this chapter. Chapter 629. It was obvious that the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's internal organs had been severely injured during the tremor just now. As for the bright iron wild bull, the energy beam formed by the blood-burning strike blasted a large hole in its back after the gold jade shield exploded. This cylindrical bloody hole penetrated the bright iron wild bull's body. It sent the bright iron wild bull flying nearly 10 meters away before stopping. Just as the bright iron wild bull suffered this serious injury, a layer of green light lingered around its wound. This green light was the bright iron wild bull's exclusive skill, Pain Absorption. It absorbed a portion of the damage and converted the damage into vitality to repair the bright iron wild bull's body. The burning sunflower Gemini was not affected by the blood-burning strike at all. The burning sunflower Gemini flew around the bright iron wild bull's wound, and the gem on its forehead slowly darkened. It injected all the vitality it had absorbed from the smooth-toothed elephant lizard and the huge-tailed swamp lizard into the bright iron wild bull's body. This collision caused the audience to let out a deafening exclamation. This collision was clearly the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's attack, but it looked much more miserable than the bright iron wild bull. The bright iron wild bull had fallen to the ground, and its blood had dyed the ground red. However, the bright iron wild bull was still struggling to stand up and had not completely lost its combat strength. At this point, it was clear who was superior. The audience's cheers reached the climax at this moment. Did the great Iron Bull Princess grow up eating iron? How can a fae be so tough? Great Iron Bull Princess. Your bull is the toughest. Fuck. This smooth-toothed elephant lizard was shocked by the energy wave that appeared out of nowhere. It can't be dead, right? The middle-aged man next to Huozian stared at the smooth-toothed elephant lizard and sighed. He looked at Huozian as though he was looking at an immortal. The middle-aged man was originally prepared to help the smooth-toothed elephant lizard hang on to its life. However, the middle-aged man had already injected spiritual power into the plum rain wall snail, and it was about to use the plum rain heart wall. When the middle-aged man sensed the sudden change in the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's body, he immediately stopped the plum rain wall snail. The moment the smooth-toothed elephant lizard entered a near-death state, its aura suddenly transformed into a dragon species phase unique aura. In a split second, a powerful heartbeat echoed from the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's body. It was as if the heart of the smooth-toothed elephant lizard had become a blood pump with super horsepower, constantly pumping blood to the whole body of the smooth-toothed elephant lizard. The smooth-toothed elephant lizard, which was in a dying state, suddenly opened its eyes. The originally cruel and cunning lizard eyes had become the cruel and majestic eyes of a dragon. The smooth-toothed lizard's dragon aura dragon's pressure burst stood and let and burst from the smooth-toothed elephant dragon's lizard. The awakening of the dragon species bloodline by a gold smooth-toothed elephant lizard would not have caused such a big commotion, but the loudspeakers on Chu Si and Chen Hongfeng spread the sound of the awakening of the dragon species bloodline to the entire Palace of Radiance. Chen, dragon. Dragon lizard dragon Chen. Chen. Dragon Chen, Chen dragon Chen, lizard Chen dragon, Chen, Chini, dragon, and unexpectedly, blue. However, he did not expect the smooth-toothed elephant lizard to give him such a big surprise at such a critical juncture. Lin Yuan frowned as he looked at the smooth-toothed elephant lizard, which had gone from a near-death state to full of vigor. Under true data, Lin Yuan knew that this smooth-toothed elephant lizard had actually stimulated the dragon species bloodline in its body. Lin Yuan had enhanced countless fays with dragon species bloodlines, so he naturally understood that after a fae awakened its dragon species bloodline, it would immediately restore its body to its peak state. It was just like when Blackie, the spirit gather goldfish, had awakened its flood dragon species bloodline and evolved into the spirit guide ichthyosaur. However, the smooth-toothed elephant lizard had not awakened its flood dragon species bloodline but another branch of the dragon species bloodline, the ancient dragon. Lin Yuan saw the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's body, which was originally 10 meters long and 5 meters tall, suddenly expand. Its body length expanded to 12 meters, its height expanded to 6 meters, and its body became more robust. Many bluish-purple bone plates bulged on its bluish-purple skin. These bone plates quickly pierced through the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's bluish-purple skin, forming pieces of hard bone armor. Immediately after, the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's upper and lower jaws, which were like huge clamps, suddenly doubled in length. As the smooth-toothed elephant lizard opened its mouth and roared, Lin Yuan saw hook-like hooks grow on its upper and lower jaws, which originally only had fine bone teeth. Lin Yuan could now imagine being bitten by the smooth-toothed elephant lizard that had awakened its ancient dragon species bloodline. The smooth-toothed elephant lizard's ability, smooth-toothed bite, combined with its enhanced bite force and increased tonnage due to its enlarged body. Its lethality would probably be at least 2.5 times higher than before. Under true data, Lin Yuan saw that the name of the smooth-toothed elephant lizard that had awakened its dragon species bloodline had become smooth-toothed elephant dragon. Lin Yuan's eyes narrowed slightly. The smooth-toothed elephant dragon was a branch of the smooth-toothed genus among the ancient dragon species. It was considered one of the more outstanding ancient dragon species bloodlines, even if it could not compare to the Dragon Wave Sea King Chalk Mosasaurus imperial dragon species bloodline. The smooth-toothed elephant species was also considered a relatively good bloodline among the ancient dragon species. This sudden turn of events caused the atmosphere, which had already reached its peak, to rise again. Even the attention of the team members at the seats could not help but be attracted. However, most of these team members looked at Huoziyuan with indescribable expressions. Haha, Huoziyuan's poisonous milk is strong enough. Princess Iron Ox has been harmed so badly by Huoziyuan. Huoziyuan's poisonous milk is well-deserved. I'm afraid. Upon hearing the audience's ridicule, Huoziyuan smiled awkwardly. He looked at the bright iron wild bull that had fallen to the ground and the yellow jadeite golden butterfly and burning sunflower Gemini, whose levels were obviously lower than the huge-tailed swamp lizard, and hurriedly changed his words. So far in this match, due to the smooth-toothed elephant lizard's unexpected bloodline awakening, the scales of victory have tilted in the direction of the Dragon Gate Guild Club's Chen Hongfeng. Even if the burning sunflower Gemini restrains the huge-tailed swamp lizard, the difference of 2 grades is destined to be helpless. Upon hearing Huoziyuan's words, Lin Yuan wore a meaningful smile on his face. The bright iron wild bull had not suffered so many vicious beatings for nothing. The bright iron wild bull was constantly suffering damage, and the burning sunflower Gemini's endurance had increased its endurance. In addition to the damage caused by the smooth-toothed elephant lizard to the bright iron wild bull, the huge-tailed swamp lizard's corrosive rain and the burning sunflower Gemini's burning flames had also attached to the bright iron wild bull's body. They had all invisibly increased the attack power of the bright iron wild bull's exclusive skill, Annihilation Gaze. The second one was even worse. End of this chapter. Chapter 630. Not to mention that the smooth-toothed elephant lizard had awakened the dragon species bloodline in its body, even if it advanced from Gold X/Epic to Platinum I/Epic. It was likely that he wouldn't be able to withstand the immense mental damage that the blazing iron wild bull's annihilation gaze could inflict. Chen Hongfeng sensed the smooth-toothed Japalura's condition and looked at the luminous iron wild bull lying on the ground. The outcome of this battle is already very obvious. Why don't we end this battle here? Chu Ci ignored Chen Hongfeng and turned to look at the middle-aged man beside Huoziyuan. Senior, please pay attention to your defense. Chu Ci's words stunned the middle-aged man. He did not understand what she was up to. However, he immediately became highly focused. After reminding the middle-aged man, Chu Ci spoke to the brilliant iron wild bull in a low voice. Little Iron Block, you've worked hard in this battle. Use your annihilation gaze one last time. The brilliant iron wild bull stared intently at the smooth-toothed Japalura. The pitch-black bull's eyes instantly turned red, and an invisible spiritual attack was launched towards the smooth-toothed Japalura, which had awakened its dragon species bloodline. Chu Ci had used the exclusive skill Annihilation Gaze countless times in the wilderness, so she knew very well how powerful it was. The luminous iron wild bull's Annihilation Gaze was a mental attack that was extremely difficult to defend against. Moreover, as long as the target was in the blazing iron wild bull's line of sight, they would not be able to dodge. She wanted to use this challenge to prove to him that she had worked hard day and night to improve over the past year. However, he didn't want to kill his opponent's Fae. The middle-aged man immediately noticed that a formless spiritual attack was smashing towards the smooth-toothed Japalura like a heavy hammer. The middle-aged man shouted, "Plum Rain Muscle, double Plum Rain Heart Wall." Due to the fact that the mental attack was invisible, Chen Hongfeng had no idea that the smooth-toothed Japalura, which had just awakened its dragon-type bloodline, was in danger. But at that moment, Chen Hongfeng saw 2 thin and thick arms appear in front of the smooth-teethed Japalura. In an instant, the thin outer layer of the heart wall shattered. The inner layer of the heart wall was 5 times thicker than the outer layer. After a few ripples, there were no more waves. The middle-aged man's face revealed a look of shock as he whispered a few words to Huoziyuan beside him. Huoziyuan quickly said, "According to the referee, the bright iron wild bull's attack was enough to kill the smooth-toothed Japalura. Therefore, the smooth-toothed Japalura has been eliminated." Huoziyuan's mouth twitched awkwardly as he spoke. He felt his face hurt. It had only been a few seconds, but the slap in the face was too fast. He had just said that the scales of victory were tilting towards Dragon Gate Club's Chen Hongfeng. The echo of his words had not yet dissipated. The scales of victory that were leaning towards Chen Hongfeng were broken by the silver-masked genius in the blink of an eye. Huaziyuan knew that the referee's judgment would cause an uproar. Huaziyuan's heart was similarly indescribably shocked. Huaziyuan didn't dare to imagine how a cow species Fey that couldn't stand up could launch a spiritual attack that exceeded its own grade. The Plum Rain Muscle's two-layered Plum Rain Heart Wall was something that everyone present could see for themselves. According to the rescuer, the outer layer of the Plum Rain Heart Wall was Platinum I Normal. Meanwhile, the inner layer of the Plum Rain Heart Wall was Diamond V Normal. Not only had the outer layer of the Plum Rain Heart Wall been shattered, but even the inner layer had suffered a certain degree of damage from the impact. The bright Iron Wild Bull, which was seriously injured and couldn't stand up, had launched a spiritual attack that roughly reached the level of a Platinum 3/Flawless Phase Full Power attack. This was a proper cross-grade combat power. Chen Hongfeng was the most dumbfounded by everything that had happened in an instant. Chen Hongfeng also didn't expect that the smooth-toothed elephant lizard had clearly awakened its dragon species bloodline and evolved into a smooth-toothed Japalura. However, before the newly evolved smooth-toothed Japalura could do anything, it had been inexplicably knocked out by the opponent's attack. The Guild Alliance's referee was affiliated with the Guild Alliance's officials, and no one would question the referee's impartiality in a competition organized by the Guild Alliance. Chen Hongfeng took a deep breath and looked at the silver-masked young lady opposite him with horror and determination. There was also a trace of sincere gratitude. Chen Hongfeng had seen Chu Si's reminder to the match's rescuers, but he didn't know what she was up to. Chen Hongfeng hadn't noticed the spiritual attack at all. He only knew that the smooth-toothed Japalura had been attacked after seeing the Plum Rain Heart Wall shatter. His smooth-toothed elephant lizard had already recovered to its peak state after awakening its dragon species bloodline. If not for the silver-masked young lady's reminder, the referee wouldn't have paid so much attention to the smooth-toothed Japalura. In that case, the smooth-toothed Japalura's head might have been shattered like the outer layer of the Plum Rain Heart Wall. Chen Hongfeng pursed his lips and recalled the smooth-toothed Japalura back into his spiritual spatial zone. Although the extreme reversal made Chen Hongfeng feel a little uncomfortable, it wasn't unacceptable. After all, before the smooth-toothed Japalura had awakened its dragon species bloodline, it would have been the same result. Chen Hongfeng squatted down and touched the faintly dried-up swamp with both hands. He injected all the spiritual power in his body into the huge-tailed swamp lizard's body. Chen Hongfeng only had a total of 2 phases, and the smooth-toothed Japalura had been defeated. He could only rely on the huge-tailed swamp lizard for this challenge. After receiving the spirit chi from Chen Hongfeng, the huge-tailed swamp lizard began to release a large amount of water elements from its body. The water that had been stripped by the burning sunflower Gemini in the swamp was immediately replenished. The smelly swamp became moist again and rapidly spread in all directions. The rotten mud rain curtain, which had been reduced by 2/3, was once again at its strongest state. When Chu Si saw Chen Hongfeng's actions, she immediately recalled the obsidian iron wild bull into her spiritual spatial zone. The obsidian iron wild bull's body had been pierced through. Even with pain absorption and Gemini's care, the obsidian iron wild bull's body had been pierced through. Despite its exclusive skills, pain absorption and Gemini care, the obsidian iron wild bull was no longer of any use in this battle. After losing the obsidian iron wild bull, Chu Si could only rely on the yellow jadeite golden butterfly and the burning sunflower Gemini. Chu Si used the golden jadeite shield on the golden jadeite shield and put it firmly on her body again. Chu Si's face didn't have the joy of instantly killing the smooth-toothed Japalura. Instead, it became even more solemn. This was because Chu Si's spiritual power was faintly reaching the bottom. Even if she used all her spiritual power to support the golden jadeite shield, it could only last for 3 minutes in the rotten mud rain curtain. The first time was even longer. End of this chapter. Chapter 632. Princess Iron Ox defeated Dragon Gate Club's reserve member, Chen Hongfeng. Does that mean that she has reached the standard of the S tournament? Following these exclamations, someone suddenly shouted. What Princess Iron Ox? Not domineering at all. Let's call her Iron Bull Valkyrie. Then, the shouts of Iron Bull Valkyrie, awesome, drowned the Palace of Radiance. Lin Yuan felt a little melancholic when he heard the new title of Iron Bull Valkyrie. The title of Valkyrie was great, but couldn't the two words, Iron Bull, be removed from it? Lin Yuan didn't dwell too much on this form of address. Instead, he looked at the center of the arena with a burning gaze. It was obvious that the spirit chi had been overdrawn. At that moment, Chu Ci took out a sword from the diamond face storage box to support herself. It could be said that she had pushed herself to her limits in this battle with Chen Hongfeng. And it was this extreme display of strength that brought about a victory that was anticipated by everyone. In this match, she had unleashed her potential in front of the entire Radiance Federation, so she deserved to enjoy the glory that belonged to her alone in the center of 10,000 people. Lin Yuan had indescribable pride in his heart. To some extent, Chu Ci's growth was also the best proof of Lin Yuan's hard work this year. After the challenge match ended, Chu Ci returned to the audience seats and sat next to Lin Yuan. This was equivalent to shifting everyone's attention to Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan regretted not wearing a mask. But on the other hand, he was glad that he had not worn a mask. Otherwise, it would be too weird for him to be sitting in front of Chu Ci while wearing Chen Hongfeng's mask after she had just defeated him. Chu Ci looked at Lin Yuan with a burning gaze and said softly, "Brother, I won." Lin Yuan put his hand on her shoulder and quietly used spirit injection to help her recover the spirit chi she had consumed. Lin Yuan looked at Chu Ci's raised a hogue and casually pressed it down. Excellent. Behind the silver mask, a sweet smile appeared on Chu Ci's face when she heard the word, awesome. It felt good to be able to show off his achievements to the people closest to him. It was even better to receive Lin Yuan's praise. The Obsidian Iron Wild Bull had been taken away by the Guild Alliance for treatment. The Guild Alliance would take full responsibility for Fays that were injured during the challenge, and it saved Lin Yuan a lot of trouble. Since Lin Yuan was not wearing a mask and was so intimate with Chu Ci, who had just won, it attracted heated discussions from the audience. This included the members of the club's guild battle teams. At this time, Li Ong, who was sitting beside Shi Su, looked very mature. Because he hadn't shaved his beard, he looked more experienced than usual. Li Ong whispered to Shi Su as he looked at Lin Yuan, who was helping Chu Ci press down the ahogue on her head. Shi Su, what do you think of the man sitting next to the silver-masked girl? Shi Su's mind was filled with thoughts on how to confess to Zhao Xiaochun at night. Therefore, Shi Su didn't pay much attention to the exciting challenge just now. Now, he suddenly heard Li Ong ask what a man looked like. Shi Su quickly pulled away from Li Ong and said to himself as he tightened his pants without anyone noticing. Could it be that Li Ong had been single for too long and wanted to find a second way to eat? Shi Su said perfunctorily. He's quite handsome. Li Ong took out a mirror and looked at himself. The corners of his mouth twitched as he mimicked the sunny smile of the youth, revealing a mouthful of teeth as he continued to ask Shi Su. Do I look good when I smile like this? When Shi Su saw such a bright smile on Li Ang's weathered face, he felt that it was indescribably strange and somewhat familiar. Shi Su pondered carefully, and his eyes suddenly lit up. Shi Su thought of something which was a cracked old cucumber seed. It was simply too similar to the current Li Ang. However, Shi Su immediately became vigilant. Why are you asking me if I look good when I smile? Could it be that Li Ang is planning to eat nearby after finding a second way to eat? Shi Su immediately expressed his stance. Li Ang, I only like Zhao Xiaochun. Shi Su's words surprised Li Ang. However, Shi Su's voice was not soft, and it reached the ears of the other Rhine Guild Club members. The other Rhine Guild Club members looked at Shi Su in surprise. Didn't Shi Su previously go bankrupt because of Zhao Xiaochun and have a headache whenever she was mentioned? Why did he suddenly start to like Zhao Xiaochun? Could it be that Shi Su awakened some strange attribute? He started to tremble. With this thought, the other Rhine Guild Club members slowly shifted their gazes away from Shi Su. They turned to stare at Dragon Gate Guild Club's Zhao Xiaochun, who was not far away from the Rhine Guild Club's seats. They discovered that Zhao Xiaochun was currently gnawing on a pig's shoulder that was stewed into mush. She was crazily sucking in the food as though there was no one else around. The Rhine Guild Club members swallowed their saliva. Sure, Su deserved to be poor for life. Long Tao and Fong Duo also discovered that the Rhine Guild Club members had their gazes on Zhao Xiaochun. Fong Duo said softly, "Boss, could it be that the Rhine Guild Club members know something and are studying tactics?" Long Tao shook his head decisively and said, "Impossible. Xiaochun's trump card has never been used. It's impossible for outsiders to know about it. Even if the Rhine Guild Club hears some news, it's useless if they don't know about the skills and exclusive skills." When Zhao Xiaochun heard Long Tao and Fong Duo's conversation, she realized that the Rhine Guild Club members were looking at her. Zhao Xiaochun quickly covered the braised pork shoulder in her hand and said to Long Tao and Fong Duo, "They are just greedy. They are just greedy." After the Dragon Gate Guild Club, it was the Rhine Guild Club's turn to compete in the next few matches. However, there was still no explosion of popularity. This was because the lucky spectator chosen by the Rhine Guild Club was actually an old man in his 60s. His strongest contracted fey was only a bronze sharp-toothed hunting hound. The Rhine Guild Club also sent a reserve team member, but the sharp-toothed hunting hound's strength made the reserve team member not know how to guide it. On the contrary, the dullness of the duel arena made everyone's gazes continue to stay on Lin Yuan and Chu Ci. Lin Yuan had been running a fey store since he was young and had seen a lot of the ways of the world. He did not care too much about other people's gazes. However, ever since Lin Yuan had come to the royal capital and closed the fey store, he had been staying in the Return from Faraway Manor almost all the time. He usually discussed things on StarWeb, which was the same as walking from the front stage to behind the scenes. Lin Yuan, who had walked behind the scenes, was now suddenly being watched by hundreds of thousands of people. He was really not used to it. Lin Yuan could not help but doubt himself. Was he too much of a homebody previously? The first time was even more. End of this chapter. Chapter 633. When everyone saw Lin Yuan and Chu Ci, they also noticed that the person sitting beside Lin Yuan was actually the Radiance 100 sequence number 30, Lu Jie. Lu Jie was the Radiance Federation's hero, and he had a very high reputation in Cold Frost City. Lu Jie's reputation in Cold Frost City was just like Lin Yuan's reputation in Millstone Town. Even though Lu Jie had been silent for 3 years, his popularity had not decreased. Now that Lu Jie had made a strong comeback and obtained the top 30 spots, his popularity was comparable to the top 20 members of the Radiance 100 sequence. Before everyone could guess the relationship between Chu Ci and Lin Yuan, they started to guess the relationship between Lin Yuan and Lu Jie. The discussion became even more interesting. After a few rounds of coaching battles, a few guild clubs had their turn. When it was the Barbarian Snake Guild Club's turn, everyone's attention was pulled back to the arena. After all, the Barbarian Snake Guild Club had killed the Lucky Spectator Challenge Fey at the All-Star match last year. This matter was simply too big. There was no one who didn't want to be selected as a lucky audience member to walk on the stage. They wanted to show their faces in front of the entire Radiance Federation. After all, apart from the 200,000 spectators at the arena, the All-Star match was also being broadcasted on the StarWeb. However, now that it was the Barbarian Snake Guild Club's turn to draw the Lucky Spectator Challenge, no one wished to be chosen. Even if they were chosen, they were prepared to forfeit immediately. Otherwise, if the Barbarian Snake Guild Club went crazy and killed their Fae, their entire lives would be ruined. At that moment, the Barbarian Snake Guild Club had finished drawing, and Huaziyuan shouted, "Congratulations to Lucky Spectator A0217. The Barbarian Snake Guild Club has drawn the Lucky Spectator A0217. When the audience heard Huaziyuan's words, they immediately started to look for the unlucky fellow in A0217. Coincidentally, their eyes landed on Lin Yuan, who was beside Chu Ci. Wow, the Iron Bull Valkyrie's little brother was actually chosen by the Barbarian Snake Guild Club. It's really uncomfortable to be chosen by the Barbarian Snake Guild Club. Last year, the Lucky Spectator Challenge Fey was killed. Who can guarantee that this year's coaching battle will be safe? All of you are paying attention to the challenge later. Am I the only one who thinks this little brother is a little handsome? Sob, sob, sob. Lin Yuan didn't realize that he was now being discussed as an unlucky person. When it was Meng Su's turn to draw a seat beside Huaziun, Lin Yuan narrowed his eyes. When Lin Yuan had heard about Zhang Xiaobai's encounter, he didn't show much hostility toward the Savage Snake Guild Club on the surface. He did not explicitly say that he would help Zhang Xiaobai solve the problem of the Barbarian Snake Guild Club. After White Devil had said that she would help Zhang Xiaobai get rid of Xening, Tan Ran, and Lu Pinru's senses that had been stolen by Meng Su's space since King Gu, Lin Yuan had not mentioned anything about the Barbarian Snake Guild Club to Zhang Xiaobai. It was not that Lin Yuan did not want to help Zhang Xiaobai. If he did not value his friendship with Zhang Xiaobai and the others, he would not have used spiritual ingredients that could subdue Pinnacle Class 3 Creation Masters to heal Lu Pinru, whose soul had been injured. On the contrary, Lin Yuan, who had experienced too much worldly wisdom, knew what he should do to make Zhang Xiaobai feel better when he encountered a problem. Although Zhang Xiaobai had terminated his contract with the Extreme Guild Club, Xening, Tan Ran, and Lu Pinru's contracts were still stuck in the Extreme Guild Club's hands. Zhang Xiaobai and the others' dreams had always been on the S tournament. For the sake of Zhang Xiaobai and the others' careers, it was undoubtedly unwise for Lin Yuan to blow up this matter. However, when Lin Yuan realized that he had been drawn by Meng Su, he immediately narrowed his eyes. Since Meng Su had drawn him, White Devil did not need to waste her efforts to help Zhang Xiaobai get back Xen Ying's, Tan Ran's, and Lu Pinru's senses that had been stolen by the space sense King Gu. At that moment, Zhang Xiaobai's heavy voice came from beside Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan, why don't you just forfeit? The Barbarian Snake Guild Club's popularity has collapsed due to its behavior in last year's All-Star Match. During this year's S tournament, the Barbarian Snake Guild Club has been very ruthless toward other Guild Club teams. It even caused a few members to lose their phase in battle. The Barbarian Snake Guild Club's behavior has also helped the Barbarian Snake Guild Club gain some extreme fans. The Barbarian Snake Guild Club might want to go further down this path. It won't be safe even if it's a guidance battle in this time's all-star match. When Zhang Xiaobai spoke, his heavy face hid a strong sense of worry. Zhang Xiaobai knew of Lin Yuan's identity as Black. Every time Black had a Star Web duel, Zhang Xiaobai would go to the Celestial Stairway video library to watch it a few times without exception. Therefore, Zhang Xiaobai was very clear about Lin Yuan's strength. Moreover, Lin Yuan had undoubtedly displayed his greatest strength during the life-and-death battle outside Millstone Town. During this half a year, Zhang Xiaobai had been rather moved by Lin Yuan's rapid improvement in strength. However, Zhang Xiaobai, who had fought with Meng Su before, also understood Meng Su. Meng Su had 2 platinum phases. One of them was the Space Sense King Gu, which was adept at spiritual attacks. The other was the Pangolin Armor Scorpion, which was adept at physical melee combat. Its abilities were all highly toxic, and a little of it would cause the entire body to fester. Furthermore, if Meng Su were to use the Coiled Armor Scorpion to engage in close combat, as long as he didn't unleash a fatal blow, not even the tournament organizers would be able to stop him. If his Fae was stabbed by the Nirvana Armor Scorpion, the Guild Alliance could heal it later. A Spirit Chi professional's body was far inferior to a Fae's. If he was stabbed by the Pangolin Scorpion, its venom would invade his bone marrow. Lin Yuan was likely to damage his roots, which would have a great impact on his future life. Lin Yuan saw Zhang Xiaobai stand up. He patted Zhang Xiaobai on the shoulder and said, "Don't worry, it's very safe." Lin Yuan's "very safe" stunned Zhang Xiaobai. Then, Zhang Xiaobai heard Lin Yuan ask him, "Is everything going smoothly with the Extreme Guild Club?" When Zhang Xiaobai heard this, the corners of his mouth twitched, revealing a sarcastic smile. "It went smoothly. When the team leader of the Extreme Guild Club heard that I was going to handle the withdrawal procedures for Xan Ying, Tan Ran, and Lu Pinru, he didn't even let me go back for verification according to the procedures. He gave us the green light on the spot and completed the withdrawal procedures within an hour." Lin Yuan saw the sarcasm in Zhang Xiaobai's eyes and felt an inexplicable heartache. Lin Yuan understood that Zhang Xiaobai was not mocking others but himself, who was full of longing for the Extreme Guild Club and struggled day and night. The second was even worse. End of this chapter. Chapter 634. Lin Yuan looked at Zhang Xiaobai seriously. I've created a club guild, and the reserve team is still missing 4 people. The dark days of the past cannot be chased. The road ahead is bright and dazzling. Xiaobai, you still have 5 years. After speaking, Lin Yuan turned and walked toward the center of the arena. Zhang Xiaobai had fought hard in the S tournament for so many years, but he realized that the number of gazes that had stopped on him was not as many as the number of times he had been by Lin Yuan's side at this moment. Zhang Xiaobai muttered in his heart. The past was dark and unreachable, but the road ahead was bright and brilliant. As he muttered this sentence, Zhang Xiaobai seemed to suddenly see the light of dawn exploding above the dome under the sea of flowers and the remains of the swarm of insects. However, Zhang Xiaobai was mostly worried about Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan treated Zhang Xiaobai as a comrade who had experienced life and death with him. Therefore, Lin Yuan was willing to use his expectations for the future after he had just recovered his sense of spirit qi and discovered that he had contracted Morbius to encourage Zhang Xiaobai. Zhang Xiaobai had the same feelings for Lin Yuan. Lu Jie looked at Zhang Xiaobai, who was standing there and staring at Lin Yuan. It's Lin Yuan's turn. Let's take his seat first. The Dome Club only has 4 members now, and I'm also one of the main members. Think about it. After Zhang Xiaobai sat in Lin Yuan's seat, Chu Ci also greeted him and said, "Thank you." "Hello, I'm also a member of the Dome Club's reserve team." Zhang Xiaobai was in the lounge of the Extreme Guild Club and watched Chu Ci's battle through the livestream. Upon seeing Chu Ci's burst of combat power, Zhang Xiaobai knew that even 2 of them, who were also defense-type spirit qi professionals, could not compare to Chu Ci. Zhang Xiaobai did not know who the other main member of Lin Yuan's Dome Guild Club was. However, the trio's combat power could faintly reach the standard of a B-rank guild club. Zhang Xiaobai also greeted Chu Ci and found that her tone was light and did not express any worry about Lin Yuan going on stage. He knew that Chu Ci was Lin Yuan's younger sister. When they had gone to the Endless Forest to collect snake venom, Zhang Xiaobai had vaguely seen Chu Ci's appearance through video chat. Zhang Xiaobai could not help asking, "Aren't you worried that Meng Su from the Barbarian Snake Guild Club will go all out?" Chu Ci shook her head. If there was anyone in the world who knew Lin Yuan the best, it might be Chu Ci. She knew that Lin Yuan had always been a cautious person. If he was not fully confident, he might do it, but he would not say it out loud. Just now, Lin Yuan had said that he was very safe, which proved that he was really very safe. Lu Jie was not worried about Lin Yuan's safety at all. Lin Yuan was already very strong, and he still had a sacred source life form as a trump card. Moreover, the mother of Bloodbath and Endless Summer, 2 suzerain/mythical fays, were sitting in the audience seats. If Lin Yuan was really in danger and the rescuers couldn't handle it in time, the mother of Bloodbath and Endless Summer would take action immediately. Even if Meng Su was 10 times stronger, he was just a child's play in the face of the mother of Bloodbath and Endless Summer's law power. When Meng Su saw the interaction between Lin Yuan and Zhang Xiaobai, he revealed a cruel smile. His eyes sparkled as he looked at the seats of the Barbarian Snake Guild Club members. He looked at a man with curly hair, who was playing with a small green snake. When the man saw Meng Su's gaze, he blinked indifferently. He then spread his hands and made an indifferent expression. Meng Su was in the center of the duel arena, and no small movements could escape the eyes of the 200,000 spectators. At that moment, the discussions in the Radiant Light Palace suddenly doubled. Most of these discussions were filled with worry for Lin Yuan and disgust for Meng Su and the Barbarian Snake Guild Club. Huo Ziyuan's expression became very ugly. For so many years, Huo Ziyuan had been the commentator and host of the S tournament and the All-Star game. Naturally, he hated having black sheep like the Barbarian Snake Guild Club in his work environment. Huo Ziyuan turned to the rescuer standing beside him and said in a low voice, "Old Wang, if there's a huge disparity in strength, you can intervene and stop the match." Old Wang, if there's a huge disparity in strength, you can intervene and stop the match. Don't let this year's All-Star game be tainted like last year's. The rescuer, whom Huo Ziyuan called Old Wang, hesitated for a moment before nodding. If the spirit chi professional encounters any dangerous behavior, I will stop it in advance. However, I will only intervene when there are fatal injuries in the collision between phase. Old Wang also had unspeakable bitterness in his heart. The ones who hated the Barbarian Snake Guild Club the most were undoubtedly the Guild Alliance's rescuers. Fang Duo looked at Lin Yuan, who was walking toward the duel arena step by step, and said to Long Tao, "This lucky spectator is probably going to be unlucky. I'm afraid this lucky spectator is going to be out of luck. The Barbarian Snake Guild Club is becoming more and more arrogant. If I encounter the Barbarian Snake Guild Club's team, I think I will go all out and beat them up." Long Tao's mouth curled up as he said to Fang Duo, "Unrighteousness leads to self-destruction. The unjust will bring about their own destruction. In any case, the unlucky one will not be this lucky spectator. As for whether the Barbarian Snake Guild Club will be unlucky or not, it will depend on whether the Barbarian Snake Guild Club is courting death. Given the Moon Empress's temper, anyone who touches the Barbarian Snake Guild Club will die." The Barbarian Snake Guild Club had always been walking on the edge of the tournament's rules. Even if the Guild Alliance wanted to punish the Barbarian Snake Guild Club, there would always be a reason. After all, in such a real-life battle, a slip of the hand was an all-purpose explanation. However, in the face of a heaven-like existence, a slip of the hand would not work. When Fang Duo heard Long Tao's words, he felt confused. At that moment, the scene in the duel arena caused Fang Duo's eyes to widen. Fang Duo never expected that this youth, who had been chosen as a lucky spectator, would actually choose the challenge match instead of the coaching match. If it was the challenge match, given the Barbarian Snake Guild Club's character, how would they perform? Huaziyuan was also stunned for a second after hearing Lin Yuan's choice before announcing Lin Yuan's choice to the 200,000 spectators. Lin Yuan looked rather young, and he had a strong youthful aura. This made Lin Yuan look younger than his actual age. Huaziyuan looked at Lin Yuan and felt that he was only 16 or 17 years old. At this age, he was not much different from the number 1 genius, Chu Ci, who had just fought with the Dragon Gate Guild Club's Chen Hongfeng. The first was even younger. End of this chapter. Chapter 635. Although the Barbarian Snake Guild Club was not an A-ranked guild like the Dragon Gate Guild Club, the Barbarian Snake Guild Club was not an A-ranked guild. However, Meng Su was not a reserve member like Chen Hongfeng. Meng Su, the main member of the team, was much stronger than Chen Hongfeng. Under such circumstances, this young man still chose the challenge. If he wasn't courting death, then what was? After choosing the challenge, Lin Yuan, who was standing in the duel arena, calmly ignored the deafening cheers. Lin Yuan looked at the Savage Snake Guild Club's Meng Su and heard Meng Su's sinister expression as though he was about to toy with his prey. "Brat, if you choose the challenge, then bring out your true abilities. Since it's a challenge, naturally both sides have to go all out. If you don't have the ability to do so and you still want to blame the other party for your injuries, then that would go against the original intention of choosing the Challenger League." Meng Su spoke in a righteous and awe-inspiring tone, which spread throughout the Palace of Glow through the loudspeaker. Immediately, many of the spectators in the spectators' stands became angry. Huaziyuan also looked at Meng Su as if he had just eaten a fly. At this moment, Huaziyuan was too lazy to introduce Meng Su to the audience. Meng Su's words were shameless to the extreme. Every ticket to the All-Star competition had a chance to be selected as a lucky spectator. This was the privilege that every All-Star match ticket gave to every spectator. It was also a channel for ordinary Spirit Chi professionals to have the opportunity to interact with the tournament's celebrity contestants. Naturally, the lucky audience members could freely choose between a challenge match or a tutorial match. According to Meng Su, all the teams had to give it their all in the Challenger League. Even if the future All-Star matches weren't going to be held, all of the lucky spectators would be sent to the infirmary. Lin Yuan looked at Meng Su without any expression on his face. "So you go all out in every battle. It's just that if I still cause damage to my opponent after the battle is over, wouldn't I be trying too hard?" Lin Yuan's voice was calm, and no one would feel anything strange. However, the silver-masked Chu Ci, who was sitting in the audience seats, had a grave expression on her face. From his calm tone, she could feel that he was angry. In her impression, Lin Yuan was usually very gentle, but it did not mean that he would not get angry. She remembered that he had gotten angry once when she was young. At that time, there had been plenty of kids on the street who were younger than Lin Yuan but older than him. When Lin Yuan was cleaning up the usnias and changing the soil, he fainted due to mental exhaustion. She had helped Lin Yuan to take advantage of the rare sunshine in the Xia region to dry a few pots of jasmine lilies, but she had been bullied by a few kids who were slightly older than her. At that time, Lin Yuan happened to wake up. Lin Yuan pulled her over calmly and asked lightly, "Does it hurt?" Then he calmly looked at the children who were bullying him. Then he pulled out the wooden board from the shelf and rushed forward. After Auntie Zhang and Uncle Li found out about this matter, Lin Yuan had to take out the 1,500 Federation dollars that the Fei store had saved last month as compensation. From then on, she knew how terrifying Lin Yuan, who usually never lost his temper, was when he really lost his temper. In Chu Ci's eyes, although Lin Yuan had grown up and was no longer the youth he had been back then, he was still a young man. But now, Lin Yuan's tone and expression were exactly the same as back then. When Meng Su heard Lin Yuan's words, he was slightly startled. Then he revealed a sinister smile and said, "I am a hard-working person. I'm a hard-working person. Please forgive me if I overdid it in this match." Hua Ziyuan had noticed that Lin Yuan had a Class 2 Creation Master crest on his clothes. He started to explain the Class 2 Creation Master crest on Lin Yuan's chest. Hua Ziyuan was secretly amazed at Lin Yuan's Creation Master talent. He was already a Class 2 Creation Master certified by the Creation Master Association at such a young age. However, when Hua Ziyuan heard Lin Yuan and Meng Su's conversation, he broke out in cold sweat. While speaking, Meng Su looked at the barbaric Snake Guild Club's seats and saw his captain glaring at him. Meng Su immediately realized that he had said the wrong thing. Even though what he said just now was very implicit, the audience in the stadium were not fools. Although he would not be punished by the Guild Alliance with such reserved words, if he went overboard, it would still be used against him. When Meng Su had selected the lucky spectator to see Lin Yuan and Zhang Xiaobai's interaction, he had already had thoughts about Lin Yuan. Now that the Barbaric Snake Guild Club was standing in the limelight, it wouldn't be appropriate to kill the lucky spectator during the all-star match. Meng Su calculated in his heart. Even if he didn't do anything to Lin Yuan, he had to make sure that Lin Yuan's contracted Fei wouldn't be able to get up from the ground. Meng Su was very confident in his contracted Fei, the Coiled Armor Scorpion. As long as the Fei's grade was lower than the Coiled Armor Scorpion by a major grade, once it was infected by the Coiled Armor Scorpion's special toxin, it would be destined to suffer damage to its roots. Furthermore, if it was infected for a long time, even a high-class creation master wouldn't be able to fully recover. Meng Su looked at Lin Yuan's age and didn't think much of him. There were geniuses in this world, and there was already a genius who had defeated the Dragon Gate Guild Club's Chen Hongfeng in this all-star match. How could there be a second genius? Meng Su circulated his spiritual energy and summoned his two Feis. Lin Yuan looked at the two Feis that Meng Su had summoned and immediately used true data to check them. Fei name: Theft Sensation King Gu Fei Species, Cicada/Polyptera, Fei Grade, Platinum 8 out of 10, Fei Type, Spiritual, Fei Quality, Legend Abilities Frowny Face Olfactory Deprivation. The Theft Sensation King Gu uses its powerful spiritual energy to seal off the target's sense of smell. Visual Deprivation causes the target to lose their sense of sight through the powerful spiritual energy in the body. During visual deprivation, the target's eyes will enter a blind state and lose their sense of light elements. Tactile Paralysis deprives the body of any sense of sensation through the powerful spiritual energy in the body. Taste Shackles causes the target to lose their sense of taste through the powerful spiritual energy in the body. Forced Illusion causes the target to produce the truth that they don't dare to face in the depths of their heart and fall into the illusion caused by the truth. Exclusive Skill Frowny Face Sense Body Shell. The Theft Sensation King Gu can seal up to 5 of the 5 senses that have been forcibly hallucinated in its body. The second one is even worse. End of this chapter. Chapter 636. Fey name: Coiled Armor Scorpion, Fey species. Sand Scorpion / Needle-tail Scorpion, Fey grade. Platinum 8 out of 10. Fey type: Poison, Fey quality. Legend abilities: Frowny Face Puncture Hook. The scorpion's tail pierces the target and causes a puncture effect. The pierced target's flesh will enter a swollen state and form pustules inside the flesh. The sealed wound will not let blood flow out. Once the pustules inside the flesh rupture, it will corrode the target's entire body with poison. Dual sanction pincers. The pincers have a bone-crushing effect. After clamping on the target, the pincers can break the target's bones and flesh into pieces. Tough shell insect body. A large amount of calcitonin is attached to the carapace, increasing the carapace's thickness. The carapace has a high probability of resisting damage from the armor-piercing effect. Stinging hair shot. When the scorpion's tail is swung, the stinging hair on the scorpion's tail will shoot out. The ejected stinging hair has a puncture hook effect. Insect body multiplication. Burns the vitality within the body and spreads the vitality to the surface of the body to increase the insect body size. Exclusive skill: Frowny Face Rotting Flesh Blood Poison. When the venom enters the target's body, a portion of the venom will quickly dissolve in the blood to form blood poison. It will spread along with the blood flow to every part of the body's flesh and organs, causing a comprehensive corrosion. After seeing Meng Su's 2 contracted phase true data, Lin Yuan was slightly conflicted. He was not conflicted about Meng Su's Platinum 8 / Legend Theft Perception King Gu and the Coiled Armor Scorpion strength. Instead, he was conflicted about his identity. Lin Yuan might only have 2-star web accounts, but he had 3 identities. One was Black, who was wearing a silver mask made by Genius Tool Transformation. He was a combat class Spirit Chi professional. The first was his identity as a Class 2 creation master that had appeared on the competition stage. The other was a strange mask with the majestic Sky City's pattern. He was the City Lord of Sky City. During the fight, Lin Yuan would undoubtedly expose Black's identity as a combat class Spirit Chi professional. As for the Sacred Source life form, Sacred Sword embracing Queen Sword Art's ability to manipulate laws and willpower, it would undoubtedly be able to easily defeat the Theft Perception King Gu and the Coiled Armor Scorpion. Although this was a good way to test the strength of the sword-wielding monarch. However, as long as he was not a fool, he would not expose one of his life-saving trump cards in such a situation. On one hand, using the Sacred Source life form, the Sacred Sword-wielding queen would consume the laws and willpower stored in the queen dress. On the other hand, if he used a Sacred Source life form in front of 200,000 spectators, it would be the same as telling the world that he possessed a Sacred Source life form. The Radiance Alliance's Class 5 scholars were not to be trifled with. The 5-star scholar's deduction would undoubtedly expose a portion of the Sacred Source life form's abilities. Lin Yuan had not been willing to expose Black's identity because he did not want to walk to the front of the stage and receive too much attention and disturbance. Even now, it was the same. However, if he had to choose, exposing Black's identity was better than exposing the Sacred Sword-wielding princess. As for the sensation-stealing King Gu that looked like a cicada and was covered in an orange carapace, it clearly had 6 pairs of wings, but it could not fly. There was a huge coiled armor scorpion with a thick black carapace and a huge hook on its tail that flickered with a cold light. Lin Yuan felt that there was nothing particularly eye-catching about it. The sensation-stealing King Gu controlled the 5 senses and relied on its massive spiritual energy. This was similar to Listen's contracted pain illusory fox's ability to make people feel intense pain through spiritual energy. However, there was no doubt that the pain illusory fox was much stronger than the sensation-stealing King Gu in Lin Yuan's heart. Although the pain illusory fox's method of controlling pain was too simple compared to the sensation-stealing King Gu, which deprived the body of the 5 senses. The pain illusory fox's sit was undoubtedly more brilliant for inflicting damage on the mind. The sensation-stealing King Gu did not have the ability to kill, but it had so many tricks up its sleeves. Its 4 abilities controlled the 5 senses. In the end, it only had the effect of controlling the five senses. While the pain-illusory fox exerted pain on the target to control the target, it could also cause a serious impact on the mind and mind. As for the exclusive skill, sense body, which stored the other person's five senses, it was of no help to the sensation-stealing King Gu in battle. Instead, it could only use underhanded means to play some tricks outside the finals. This made the sensation-stealing King Gu lose an exclusive skill in battle and become a failure. The Platinum 8/Legend Coiled Armor Scorpion could only be considered average. Among the many Platinum Fays that Lin Yuan had seen, due to its comprehensive defense, attack, and speed, it could barely be ranked above average. The sensation-stealing King Gu and the Coiled Armor Scorpion had reached Platinum/Legend but had not become fantasy breeds. Lin Yuan could see how stupid Meng Su's talent was in the S tournament, where prodigies gathered. Lin Yuan asked Meng Su indifferently, "It's painful not being able to comprehend the willpower rune, right? You always work too hard in the competition. Why don't you work hard when it comes to comprehending the willpower rune?" Most of the audience was worried about Lin Yuan's choice of a challenge match. Of course, there were also some barbaric Snake Guild Club fans who thought that Lin Yuan was overestimating himself by choosing a challenge match against Meng Su. However, when they heard Lin Yuan's calm words through the loudspeaker, they were dumbfounded. The audience could not help but stare with their mouths agape. What a stab in the heart! Meng Su was also startled when he heard Lin Yuan's words, and his face immediately turned livid. Meng Su was already 29 years old this year, and he would have to retire from the S tournament in a year at most. For so many years, Meng Su had dreamed of comprehending a willpower rune. But how could willpower runes be so easy to comprehend? If hard work was useful, then there would be no definition of a genius in the Radiance Federation. Even Chu Ci, who was widely rumored to be the #1 genius on the Star Web, was called the #1 genius. It wasn't just because she had a Bronze/Legend Ox species Fae. This Bronze/Fantasy breed Fae proved that Chu Ci had comprehended a willpower rune at the age of 15. Lin Yuan had touched Meng Su's sore spot, but before he could say anything, Lin Yuan continued calmly. Even if you comprehend the willpower rune, your two main Fays have reached Platinum, and their potential is limited. The S tournament is a gathering of geniuses, and most of the B-Rank Guild Club members have fantasy breed Fays. It must be tough, right? So hard that you always have some bad ideas? First time even more, end of chapter. Chapter 637. Meng Su didn't even let out a breath, and his face was flushed. Meng Su had a fiery temper, and now that Lin Yuan had angered him, he felt his lungs hurting. In front of 200,000 spectators, no matter what Meng Su did, the Barbarian Snake Guild Club and the faction behind it would bear the consequences. However, his strength and potential were being questioned in front of 200,000 people. If he didn't do something, he wouldn't just lose face in the Radiance Federation. Even in the Barbarian Snake Guild Club, he would become a joke. Meng Su yelled furiously, "Do you know what strength is? Today, I'll show you what true strength is." As soon as Meng Su finished speaking, a huge fat worm emerged from the ground in front of him. The moment the fat worm crawled out, the curly-haired Barbarian Snake Guild leader cursed inwardly in his seat. Meng Su is really an idiot. He actually summoned his trump card, the body-dissolving sandworm, after being provoked by a few words. Lin Yuan looked at this huge worm that had drilled out from under the arena and used true data to check its attributes. Fey name, body-fusing sandworm, Fey species, powder beetle/arthropod, Fey grade, platinum, 7/10, Fey type, source, Fey quality, legend abilities frowny face dual fusion. Absorb 2 types of Fays into the body-fusing sandworm's body and use it as a medium to fuse the 2 types of Fays into a combined Fey that has the combat power of the 2 Fays. Lethal weapon retention. The body-fusing sandworm's body is preserved on the fused insect's body. Gather body. The body-fusing sandworm will consume a large amount of nutrients to strengthen its body. It can fuse 2 types of Fays that are slightly higher than its own grade. Calcium mutual dissolution. Fuse the bones of 2 types of Fays tightly. Be it the exoskeleton or the internal skeleton, they will form a whole body without cracks. Overdrive fusion. The body-fusing sandworm stimulates the energy in its body and sacrifices a large amount of energy to fuse the two phase instantly. Since it is an instant fusion, the consumed energy will be removed within 5 minutes. After removing the fusion, the body-fusing sandworm will enter a weakened state. Exclusive skill Frowny Face Body Fusion Amplification. Use the body fusion sandworm as a medium to fuse two-phase. The body fusion sandworm's energy will be used as a hormone to stimulate potential, increasing the strength of the fused phase by 10%. At first glance, he was sure that this Platinum 7/Legend body fusion sandworm was a source-type life form with special abilities. At this moment, Lin Yuan heard Meng Su shouting with a livid expression. Sandworm, use double body fusion. Converge with hyperdrive. Then he saw the Platinum 7/Epic Body Fusion sandworm's body expand. It swallowed the sensory-perceiving king parasite and the coiled armored scorpion. After swallowing the theft sensation king goo and the coiled armor scorpion, the body fusion sandworm wriggled its body quickly. Then the important organs of the theft sensation king goo and the coiled armor scorpion appeared on the surface of the body fusion sandworm's skin one after another. A large number of organs moved as the body-fusing sandworm acted as a medium to fuse the theft perception king goo and the coiled armor scorpion together. It perfectly fused the theft perception king goo and the coiled armor scorpion. Lin Yuan looked at the monster that appeared in front of him and carefully sensed it. He found that this monster's strength had faintly reached Platinum X/Legend. After the fusion was completed, Lin Yuan heard Meng Su's loud command again. Body fusing sandworm, use body fusion amplification. Coiled armor scorpion, use insect body multiplication. Following Meng Su's command, Lin Yuan saw the body fusing sandworm as a medium to fuse the 3-meter-long monster that was the theft perception king goo and the coiled armor scorpion suddenly expand. It expanded from its original 3-meter-long length to nearly 6 meter long. After this monster's body expanded, its body clearly stimulated a large amount of vitality. This vitality attached to the monster's body surface, causing the strength of the theft perception king goo and the coiled armor scorpion to rise again. It even caused a thin layer of flame to rise on the monster's body surface due to the huge amount of energy in its body. The sudden change caused the audience to exclaim, "Wow, this handsome little brother won't be hurt by this disgusting big worm, right? If that's the case, I'll die of heartache." Are the Barbarian Snake Guild Club's people sick? They're clearly fighting a challenge, but they're even more serious than during the exhibition match. What is the Barbarian Snake Guild Club's Meng Su trying to do? Big brother, let's stop fighting. Give up. Why don't you go to the lantern show with me during the new year? When Chu Si heard this, her mouth twitched. She wondered if these aunties who wanted to go shopping with Lin Yuan were out of their minds. Chu Si knew that Lin Yuan would not say something he was not confident about. Since he had said it, he must have a card up his sleeve. However, when Chu Si sensed the strength of the fused insect species monster, she clenched her fists tightly. Behind the silver mask, her face revealed an uncontrollable look of worry. Lin Yuan raised his brows slightly as he looked at the transformation of the theft perception king goo and the coiled armor scorpion. This monster's strength was now almost at the limit of Platinum X/Legend. However, there was a huge gap between the Platinum level and the Diamond level. A large rank might not mean much to geniuses, but to mediocre people, it was an insurmountable chasm. However, even though Meng Su's monster had yet to reach the Diamond grade, it wasn't far from it with the help of its various exclusive skills. Lin Yuan watched as Meng Su used his trump card to fuse the Steel Perception King Goo and the Coiled Armor Scorpion with the body-fusing Sandworm. There was no longer any confusion in his heart. Lin Yuan immediately stopped his plan to let the source sand, which was usually used as a cuff, drill into the duel arena to create a large amount of sand. Meng Su looked at his body-fusing Sandworm as a medium, the Theft Perception King Goo, and the Coiled Armor Scorpion, and laughed out loud. He looked straight at Lin Yuan and spoke in a cold voice. "Kid, since it's a challenge, you'll attack first." After you attack me, I'm going to give you a taste of the feeling that you can't see, your ears can't hear, your mouth can't taste, and your body can't touch. You will be mired in the illusion made of endless painful memories and be pierced by the tail of a scorpion in reality. Meng Su's words caused the atmosphere to tense up. However, at that moment, a red energy beam filled with vitality danced lightly on Lin Yuan's fingertip. The second one was even more powerful. End of this chapter. Chapter 639. Meng Su also felt that he was about to regain control over the fused Fey. Meng Su quickly yelled out and commanded, "Quickly use olfactory deprivation, visual deprivation, tactile paralysis, taste imprisonment, forced hallucination, and stinger shot." With Meng Su's command, Hua Ziyuan's heart immediately jumped. The contestant also started to inject spiritual power into the plum rain mollusk's body, preparing to shoot out the stinger shot. He immediately propped up the plum rain heart wall in front of him to resist the damage caused by the coiled armor scorpion's stinging hair barrage. Every stinger shot by the Nirvana scorpion stinger bullets had the effect of a piercing hook. Fays had strong physiques, and they could still be healed if the stinger shot pierced their bodies. If a spirit chi professional was hit, even if the stinger shot wasn't fatal, the rotting flesh poison on the stinger shot would be enough to cause the spirit chi professional's flesh to fester and die in a short time. Meng Su's order could be said to have given Lin Yuan the order to kill him in front of everyone. Just as the fused insect species monster was about to break away from the fasciated flower stand and release heal, a thicker and brighter life force energy beam shot out from Lin Yuan's hand. It continued to land on the perception theft King Gu and the pellicle scorpion. Under the frenzied extraction of this thick red vitality, the Fey formed by the fusion of the steel perception King Gu and the cradled scorpion was aging at a speed visible to the naked eye. At the same time, its plump body was shriveling up. This was a sign that a large amount of life force was being extracted from its body. The crystallized mainflower's heel reflected the life force from the huge monster's body, causing a layer of green, fog-like ripples to appear on Lin Yuan's body. The entire venue was silent, and even Hua Ziyuan didn't know how to comment on the match. The challenger didn't even summon his Fey and was toying with his opponent's Fey. His opponent's Fey was clearly being extracted with a large amount of life force, but it was still letting out joyful chirps. Under everyone's attention, the youth in the middle of the arena was like a god. Lin Yuan didn't expect the crystallized mainflower's heel to be so powerful. It had extracted 1/3 of the perception theft King Gu and the pellicle scorpion's life force. It could be said that the crystallized mainflower's ability to extract life energy was 3 times that of the embellished flower stand. However, they couldn't be compared like that. After all, the embellished flower stand had more area of effect attacks than the crystallized mainflower. At this point, Meng Su was already panicking. As a contractor, he couldn't even control his contracted Fey. How were they supposed to fight this battle? Life energy was the root of all living things. Although life force could be replenished, the loss of a large amount of life force in a short period of time would cause irreversible damage to the Fey. Lin Yuan looked at Meng Su calmly. With a wave of his hand, he used the spiritual power in his body to make the jasmine lily's crystallized main flower use heal again. It landed on the insect monster's body, which was already in an extremely bad condition. Once again, he used the crystallized main flower's heal ability. This time, it wasn't just the extraction of a large amount of vitality that made the fused insect monster age and weaken. Instead, it was as if something in his body had shattered, and his aura had weakened significantly. In the seats of the Rhine Club, the twin-tailed girl said softly, "A large amount of vitality has been lost." The 3 Fays of the Barbarian Snake Guild Club's Meng Su should have fallen in quality. Sure, Su did not feel the slightest regret when he heard this. Instead, he smiled happily. "If it were me, I would have electrocuted such a black sheep to death with my thunder mulberry." When Meng Su sensed the changes in his Fey, his face immediately broke out in a cold sweat. Even though he was looking at Lin Yuan with hatred, Meng Su didn't dare to be careless. He turned around and yelled anxiously at the referee, "Hey, Before Meng Su could finish his words, a tiny red energy landed on him, causing him to stop what he was about to say. Instead, it fell into an extremely joyful mood like the insect species Faye it had fused with and giggled foolishly. At this moment, the referee was hesitant to intervene in the match. Lin Yuan turned his head and said to the rescuer, "Senior, what he wanted to say was that I'm getting serious." The referee was still hesitating at first, but after hearing Lin Yuan address him as senior, he looked at Meng Su again. After thinking for a while, he said, "I will only intervene when the lives of both parties are in danger," Yi Futian said. After saying that, the referee stood still on the spot. It was obvious that he had no intention to intervene. If it was someone else, the referee might have already intervened. Meng Su obviously didn't have the ability to resist at all. Even the right to admit defeat depended on whether the opponent was willing to give it to him. However, Meng Su had killed a lucky spectator's Fae during the challenge last year. He had also injured and killed other teams' Faes during this year's round-robin tournament. If it wasn't the critical point of the rules, the referee wouldn't want to save Meng Su. When Lin Yuan had entered the arena and seen the theft perception King Gu's true data, he had already decided not to let Meng Su go. The theft perception King Gu's exclusive skill, Existential Shell, could seal the 5 senses of the spirit chi professional and cause them to fall into the forced illusion of the theft perception King Gu's platinum ability. The most painful thing in life was to face the truth that one didn't dare to face. Inside the treatment center, Exening, Tan Ran, and Lu Pinru had lost their 5 senses. They were still trapped in the mental torture. It was fine for Exening and Tan Ran. However, Lu Pinru's soul was injured. While she had to endure the pain on the soul level, she actually had to face something that she didn't dare to face. Under such double torture, if Lu Pinru's mind wasn't firm enough, her soul might collapse, resulting in death. Lin Yuan was very glad that he had followed Zhang Xiaobai to the treatment center to save Lu Pinru. 2 streams of red life force, one thick and one thin, continued to suck away at Meng Su's life force. Meng Su's life force continued to weaken as he smiled. With the body-fusing sandworm as a medium, the theft perception King Gu and the Nirvana armor scorpion's aura was also falling. This indicated that the body-fusing sandworm, the theft perception King Gu, and the Nirvana armor scorpion's quality was constantly declining due to the massive loss of vitality energy. A young man with curly hair from the Barbaric Snake Guild Club had a gloomy expression. Just as he was about to get up, a pair of delicate, pale hands with dark green fingernails grabbed his arm. The second one was even worse. End of this chapter. Chapter 640. A delicate but cold voice rang out. "Captain, Meng Su is already crippled. Why do you care about him? Even if you make a move to stop this duel now, you will only save a piece of trash whose source is damaged and whose 3 platinum phase have fallen to normal." The curly-haired young man's expression froze when he heard this. He glanced sideways at the girl with dark green fingernails and began to ponder. The woman with dark green fingernails continued. "Captain, I've always been the commander of the team. Over the past year or so, did you notice that Meng Su was the one who dealt the finishing blow for every single one of our overboard actions? Especially every time I kill other spirit chi professionals' phase. Now that Meng Su is in trouble, we, the Barbarian Snake Guild Club, can sacrifice our son to save the Rook. We'll push all the blame onto Meng Su. In any case, whenever Meng Su relied on the theft perception King Gu's exclusive skill to earn money, he never thought of us." When the curly-haired young man heard this, he looked at the girl with green nails and said meaningfully, "Si-ing, you've been plotting against Meng Su for a long time, haven't you?" As he spoke, the curly-haired young man had already returned to his seat. It was unknown which words of the green-dyed woman had moved him. In any case, he had no intention of stopping the competition to save Meng Su. The girl with green nails giggled. "Only fools will be schemed against. It wasn't me who schemed against Meng Su. Meng Su was just too stupid." Just then, a plum Reinhardt wall enveloped Meng Su, the body-fusing sandworm, the theft perception King Gu, and the coiled armor scorpion. On the other side of Mei Yu's heart wall, Meng Su, the body-fusing sandworm, the theft sensation king parasite, and the coiled armor scorpion also felt the red life force being cut off. He recovered from his state of bliss and fell directly onto the ice-cold ground of the dueling arena. Meng Su's hair had already turned white, and his skin was covered in wrinkles. Meng Su looked like a withered old man due to the large amount of life force he had lost. The bodies of the body-fusing sandworm, the theft sensation king Gu, and the coiled armor dragon scorpion shrunk to 1/3 of their original size, becoming like dried insects. As Huaziyuan announced that Lin Yuan had won the challenge, the Radiant Light Palace's roof was about to be pushed up with cheers. His momentum wasn't inferior to Chu Si's when she defeated Chen Hongfeng. Fuck. Who the hell was this handsome guy on the stage? How could he be so strong? Why haven't I heard of it before? Well done, Meng Su from Barbarian Snake Club. What the heck was with this tournament organizer? Why did he have to interfere and save Meng Su? Mind your own business. It would be great if Meng Su could never get up. This challenge match is simply a one-sided suppression. However, summon your fae. I really want to know what this little brother has contracted. This time, he had used the Platinum I/Fantasy 3 Jasmine Lily, a trump card that he had not shown before, so he did not expose Black's identity. It could be said that Lin Yuan had been full of mystery from the start of the challenge to the end. It was like a layer of fog that people couldn't see clearly. The more they couldn't see clearly, the more they wanted to explore. As he listened to the overwhelming cheers for him, the corners of Lin Yuan's mouth curled up. Lin Yuan suddenly felt that perhaps walking up the stage was also a good choice. At this moment, Lin Yuan seemed to understand why so many spirit chi professionals were so obsessed with the S tournament. Before Lin Yuan walked to the audience seats, he took one last look at Meng Su. He felt that Meng Su was not only hateful but also a little pitiful. It wasn't because of Meng Su's strength or his current body that was pitiful. It was because Meng Su was a contestant of the S tournament and was born to face Starlight and the competition. He should have raised his head fearlessly and faced the hardships of the battle and the praises after winning the competition. But when Meng Su fell to the ground in the middle of the all-star competition, all he received was the scolding of the audience. How ironic was that? Everything he had done so far had been for naught. Just as Lin Yuan returned to his seat, Xing, Tan Ran, and Lu Pinru opened their eyes at the same time. When Lu Pinru opened her eyes, she felt that she was bursting with energy. After all, the cold snow pine's cold snow rosin had nourished Lu Pinru's soul and also soothed her mind. However, when Xing and Tan Ran opened their eyes, they felt physically and mentally exhausted. They had been trapped in the depths of their hearts and didn't dare to face the truth. Now that they had woken up, they still felt an indescribable sadness. At this moment, the three of them heard an old voice singing at the top of his lungs. "What kind of man are you? What kind of man are you? You watched her leave and didn't do anything. How naive are you? Don't force yourself. I expected you to redeem yourself, but you gave it up." This song wasn't anything special. It was a song that Starweb Sparrow Voice Lowly Goddess had sung during her livestream. Once this song was released, many female spirit chi professionals became die-hard fans of the Sparrow Voice Lowly Goddess. It could be said that this song had sung into the hearts of middle-aged and elderly women. It was a good song, but this old man was singing and laughing at the same time. He was also using his hands to pour all sorts of elixirs from the porcelain bottles on the table into the trash can like garbage. It looked rather strange. At that moment, Master Hong Shen turned around and was preparing to stretch his body. However, he realized that Xing, Tan Ran, and Lu Pinru had already sat up and were looking at him. Master Hong Shen was so frightened that he couldn't even catch his breath. Choking on his saliva, Master Hong Shen started coughing violently. Master Hong Shen coughed so hard that his face was flushed red. He clutched his heart and screamed, "Can't the three of you make a sound when you wake up? This old man's soul has just recovered. Are the three of you not happy for this old man? Are you planning to scare this old man to death?" Xing, Tan Ran, and Lu Pinru's eyes lit up when they heard Master Hong Shen's words. Xing asked in pleasant surprise, "Grandpa Hong, your mental injury has healed?" Apart from accepting missions from the Extreme Guild Club, Xinning, Zhang Xiaobai, and the others had been working with Master Hong Shun to help him collect spiritual ingredients. They had been acquaintances for nearly 10 years. Upon hearing that Master Hong Shun's soul injury had healed, Xinning was genuinely happy. When Master Hong Shun heard Xining's words, he was still rubbing his heart. However, a bright smile had already appeared on his face. Master Hong Shun looked at Xinning, Tan Ran, and Lu Pinru with a hint of gratitude in their eyes. I have to thank you 3 brats for being able to heal the soul injury that has been troubling me for the past 15 years. If it weren't for the 3 of you, Zhang Xiaobai wouldn't have brought my benefactor over. Tips for Hua Luo and Yenge. Thanks to the book friends who gave suggestions for this book. Thank you very much. Button wants to write a good book and will absorb everyone's suggestions to slowly improve. He will hone his writing skills and get better. He will work hard to write a story that belongs to the Radiance world and Lin Yuan. End of this chapter. Chapter 641. Master Hong Shun's words made Xining's mind confused. Even though Zhang Xiaobai had always been reliable in crucial moments, this matter involved Meng Su, a core member of the Barbarian Snake Guild Club. Even if Zhang Xiaobai was reliable at critical moments, logically speaking, he couldn't do much in this matter. After speaking with Xinning, Master Hong Shun walked to Lu Pinru's side and asked her, "Do you feel anything strange about your soul?" As he spoke, Master Hong Shun cast an envious glance at Lu Pinru. At that time, due to Lu Pinru's 5 senses being lost, Lin Yuan could not judge whether her soul injury was completely healed based on her reaction. Therefore, when he was healing Lu Pinru, he did not care about the consumption of the cold snow rosin. In order to ensure that Lu Pinru's soul could recover, he increased the amount of frigid snow rosin he used. In Master Hong Shun's opinion, Lu Pinru's soul injury was very light. It was incomparable to his 15-year-old chronic illness. However, Lin Yuan's consumption of cold cedar rosin for Lu Pinru far exceeded his consumption. What an enviable relationship! After Lu Pinru woke up, she felt very comfortable in the depths of her mind, as if something was constantly nourishing and protecting her. Lu Pinru still remembered that she had been instructed by Wei Chong to help block the soul-crushing spike of the Barbarian Snake Guild Club's main team captain's Fei, the soul-shattering hedgehog. Logically speaking, with his strength, a soul-crushing thorn should have left a visible wound on his soul. But now, not only was the deepest part of his soul not damaged, it was also abnormally comfortable. When Master Hong Shun saw Lu Pinru's expression, he knew that Lu Pinru's soul had been nourished and strengthened by the cold snow pine incense. In a sense, the strength of her soul was equivalent to increasing Lu Pinru's chances of comprehending the willpower rune. Master Hong Shun sighed. "Pinru lass, you have to thank Lin Yuan in the future. I really envy your friendship. Lin Yuan is actually willing to use spiritual ingredients from a suzerain/myth breed Fei to heal your soul injuries." Hearing Master Hong Shun's words, Xinning, Lu Pinru, and Tan Ran, who were initially confused, immediately understood what was going on. It turned out that Zhang Xiaobai had gone to find Lin Yuan for help. However, when they heard that it was a spiritual ingredient from a suzerain/myth Fei, they still felt inexplicably horrified. At the same time, a warm feeling welled up in his heart. The spiritual materials of such a suzerain/myth breed were priceless treasures, and the comrade who had fought with them valued them more than priceless treasures. Master Hong Shun looked at the half-tidied-up treatment center and said, "Since the 3 of you have recovered, you are no longer patients. Come and help this old man clean up the treatment room. Also, put your phase back into the spiritual spatial zone." Xinning, your golden shadow swift cat has already scratched 2 of my chairs. This old man will also mix a bowl of essence chi replenishing spirit liquid for you to consolidate. After saying that, Master Hong Shun walked into the cultivation room that he had already tidied up. Looking at the spotless breeding room, Master Hong Shun was suddenly not used to it. He felt that the cultivation room was more messy and more comfortable to look at. Master Hong Shen took out a few basic spiritual ingredients that could replenish vitality from the diamond Fei storage box on his wrist and concocted spirit fluids that even Class 1 creation masters could concoct with proficiency. Master Hong Shen, who was circulating the spirit qi to concoct the spirit fluid, felt a throbbing in the depths of his soul. In a daze, his soul power and spirit qi seemed to mix together and be injected into the spirit fluid, stirring up the medicinal properties of the spirit fluid. After a momentary throbbing in his soul, Master Hong Shen looked at the spirit fluid on the table and his hands. His old face grinned and revealed a few buck teeth. He was obviously smiling, but 2 drops of turbid tears rolled down from Master Hong Shen's eyes. Master Hong Shen didn't expect happiness to come so quickly. After recovering from the damage to his soul that had troubled him for 15 years, he actually became a Class 4 creation master. The 15 years of sorrow surged up in his heart. Compared to the joy of his strength increase, Master Hong Shen's heart surged with more gratitude toward Lin Yuan. Without Lin Yuan, he wouldn't have a fully recovered soul. He wouldn't have the opportunity to become a Class 4 creation master and wash away his past and cry tears of joy. Master Hong Shen wiped his hands and took out his cell phone from his pocket. He devoutly dialed the phone number that he had just recorded. After returning to his seat, Lin Yuan had completely exposed himself to the 200,000 spectators. These gazes also included the attention of the various tournament club and team members. Lin Yuan also saw many familiar faces. Long Tao, Fong Duo, Zhao Xiaochun, Shi Su, and Lin Yuan were all familiar faces. They had experienced battles together, so they could be considered friends. However, when Lin Yuan had interacted with Long Tao, Fong Duo, Zhao Xiaochun, and Shi Su, he had used Black's identity instead of his current identity. Everyone in the Return from Faraway Manor was shocked and slowly became numb. Although they were surprised, they didn't feel that the strength Lin Yuan had displayed was that incredible. However, Chu Ci and Zhang Xiaobai were different. Chu Ci had given Lin Yuan a satisfactory answer in the battle just now. Chu Ci had defeated the reserve members of the Class A Guild Club and felt the warm cheers from the audience, causing Chu Ci to inevitably feel a trace of pride in her heart. However, after seeing Lin Yuan's strength, the pride and complacency that had just appeared in Chu Ci's heart were immediately chased away. As her brother, Lin Yuan had used practical actions to let Chu Ci invisibly understand that no matter when, even if she was at the peak of the mountain, she had to be clear-headed and self-restrained. At the same time, it also let her know that she wanted to catch up to her brother's footsteps. He still needed to move his feet and run with big strides. Zhang Xiaobai did not expect that in half a year, Lin Yuan, who had been on par with him at the beginning, would actually become so strong that he could not even see his back. Zhang Xiaobai could not understand how Lin Yuan had operated during the battle just now. Back in Millstone Town, Lin Yuan had brought a miracle to everyone there. At that moment, Zhang Xiaobai felt that he had seen a miracle that was not inferior to Millstone Town. At that moment, Lin Yuan and Zhang Xiaobai's phones rang at the same time. Lin Yuan picked up the phone and heard Master Hong Shen's excited voice. "Young Master, I just broke through to Class 4 Creation Master." Upon hearing Master Hong Shen's words, Lin Yuan clenched his fists tightly. His brows relaxed as he revealed a radiant smile. His small white teeth were even more dazzling than the small fireballs spat out by the Silver Stage Pyromancer. The first one was even worse. End of chapter. Chapter 642. Since Lin Yuan had been under everyone's gaze, his smile dazzled many aunties who were secretly paying attention to him. These aunties felt like they had clearly come to watch the All-Star game, but they had unknowingly become mommy fans. Lin Yuan hadn't expected that Master Hong Shen would actually bring him such a huge surprise so quickly. The current Sky City was the first true Class 4 Creation Master in Lin Yuan's hands. After becoming a Class 4 Creation Master, Master Hong Shen didn't need to make do and could perfectly make up for Lin Yuan's shortcomings. Master Hong Shen's ability to upgrade phase grades and Lin Yuan's current ability allowed Sky City to truly have a Class 5 Creation Master presiding over it. Lin Yuan said to Master Hong Shen, "I'll send you an address later." When you're done packing, just go there. After hanging up the phone, he found that Zhang Xiaobai had also hung up the phone and was looking at him in surprise. Lin Yuan heard Zhang Xiaobai say happily and anxiously, "Lin Yuan, I have to leave the Radiant Light Palace now. Xen Ying and the others have woken up. I have to go and see them." This time, Lin Yuan did not say that he wanted to go with Zhang Xiaobai. Originally, when Xen Ying, Tan Ran, and Lu Pinru were asleep, Lin Yuan did not say that he would go with Zhang Xiaobai. All the burdens fell on Zhang Xiaobai. Now that Xen Ying, Tan Ran, and Lu Pinru had woken up, the fact that the Extreme Guild Club was a matter that the four of them needed to discuss and face together. "Go, little white. I'll wait for you at the Dome Club." Zhang Xiaobai was slightly stunned when he heard that. This was Lin Yuan's second time inviting him. After joining a business club like the Extreme Guild Club, Zhang Xiaobai understood that with Lin Yuan's resources and strength, he would not be able to establish a guild club. Even if it was to recruit reserve members, there would be better choices than them. The first time Lin Yuan had recruited him was because Lin Yuan had helped him as a friend after knowing his situation. The second time he tried to recruit Lin Yuan meant that he sincerely hoped that Lin Yuan could join the Dome Guild Club, even if Lin Yuan's current strength was far inferior. As for Lin Yuan's recruitment, Zhang Xiaobai had always loved the arena, so he naturally had no reason to refuse. Zhang Xiaobai patted Lin Yuan's shoulder forcefully and said, "Don't worry. I'll go ask the three of them later. However, no matter what their plans are, I've decided to join." A few minutes after Zhang Xiaobai left, Lin Yuan's phone rang again. After hanging up the phone, Lin Yuan stood up and spoke to Lu Jie. "Brother Lu, put 2 more pairs of bowls and chopsticks on the table tonight. There will be 2 more of us in the manor." Lu Jie replied, "Leave it to me. I'm going to cook a seafood feast tonight. I'll cook the platinum bony sauté fish I bought before." Lin Yuan felt that today was definitely a great day with double happiness. Not only did Lin Yuan receive Master Hong Shen, but even Duan He, who possessed Emperor-class combat power, had also come to the royal capital. The All-Star competition was still ongoing. Most of the lucky spectators chose to watch the Challenger League, so there wasn't much to see. They had come to watch the All-Star match on a whim. Now that Chu Ci had fought in the Challenger League, even she felt a little disinterested in watching. As a result, they didn't wait for the All-Star competition to end before returning from Faraway Manor. Wen Yu, the housekeeper, set up the 2 rooms on the 3rd floor next to Hu Quan's room. Not long after returning to the mansion, Lin Yuan received a call from Duan He and Master Hong Shen. Lin Yuan didn't expect the 2 of them to arrive together. Lin Yuan personally walked to the entrance of the manor and welcomed Duan He and Master Hong Shen into the manor. Duan He was an Emperor-class expert, while Master Hong Shen was a Class 4 creation master. Their horizons were naturally extraordinary. They immediately saw the extraordinariness of the manor. It was winter, and the plants outside the manor were withering. Inside the manor, it was like summer. Duan He knew that Lin Yuan was the Moon Empress disciple, and Master Hong Shen knew that Lin Yuan could casually take out spiritual ingredients from a suzerain/myth-breed fae. As a result, he didn't show too much surprise on his face. But when he entered the manor, he was still stunned by the furniture made of completely jade-textured wood and the 3 Mountain River Eternal Life carps in the red sandalwood longevity fish tank. Duan He had been fortunate enough to visit the main residences of top factions before. Those top factions' main residences were nothing more than this. Moreover, the extremely luxurious and huge mural on the wall made the whole house exude a warm feeling. After dinner, everyone quickly became familiar with each other. Even Duan He, who had lived in Indigo Azure City and eaten all kinds of marine fays, couldn't resist them. He couldn't help but admire the chef's cooking skills. After the meal, Master Hong Shen looked at the room that Wen Yu had prepared for him and then looked at the clean house. Master Hong Shen pondered for a moment before replying. "Young master, I'm used to being dirty. I'm afraid I'll be annoyed if I stay in this house. I see that there is an empty plot of land for sale next to young master's manor. Why don't I buy that plot of land and use it as a cultivation base for young master's manor? Moreover, these 2 pieces of land are so close to each other, and there are no other people around. We can open up the underground space of these two pieces of land. It's damp and warm underground with rich earth and water elements. It's the best environment to nurture plant type phase. There are so many rare plants in young Master's manor. In the future, when they bear seeds and breed, this underground space can also be used. Master Hongshan said this mainly because he didn't want to be restricted in his daily life. The speaker didn't mean anything, but the listener heard it. When Master Hongshan's words entered Lin Yuan's ears, his eyes immediately lit up. The return from faraway manor might have a lot of space, but he wanted to establish the Dong Guild Club's guild base in the future. It would occupy the empty plot of land at the north of the return from faraway manor. In addition, the expansion of the artificial lake would inevitably occupy land. If he had to use the empty plot of land on the west side to build a Fey cultivation base, it would appear that the layout of the manor was rather compact. Master Hongshan's idea was undoubtedly the perfect solution to this problem. What made Lin Yuan even happier was that Master Hongshan's idea of opening up an underground space was very feasible and imperative. Lin Yuan had a golden lotus brocade plant that had mutated from the flower brocade pearl. The underground space would immediately solve the problem of nurturing the golden lotus brocade plant. Moreover, the underground space was connected to the inside and outside of the manor, and it could be controlled very well. The secret of the underground space would also not be discovered and leaked by intentional factions. In a few days, the spatial tunnel that would be built from the manor to the Divine Wood Federation could also be set up in the underground space. Second floor. Button was almost done with work recently and still had to be busy for a few more days. In a few days, it would start to recover. End of this chapter. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.